What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode here on the Pool Focus Podcast. I'm Quentin, and today's guest is an amazing photographer from Charleston, West Virginia. She owns her own studio. She's been viral multiple times, and she is probably one of the biggest boss-ass bitches I've ever known. So,
I love being called a boss-ass bitch.
I got to give you the hype that you deserve and stuff.
Thank you.
But without further ado is Miss Hillary from HEK Productions. How are you doing today?
Well, right now I feel flattered.
Yeah.
I'm blushing.
No.
No, I'm great. It has been a busy summer so far, and my wedding season started a little later this year than normal. So my first one's going to be at the end of this month. So I'm kind of gearing up for that.
Yeah. And we've shot a wedding together.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like forever though.
When was that? It was just last fall.
It feels like it was forever though. I don't
It
know if
really
it's because
does.
I follow your stuff and I'm always like constantly just looking at all the stuff that you're posting too. But we went down to Athens.
Yep.
Down in at the border of West Virginia and Virginia down there, and that place is beautiful
So
too.
pretty.
The Unity Barn, right?
The barn on Unity Farm. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that the owners, which they truly, and I know you feel the same way, when you work in the wedding industry,
Mm-hmm.
the people that own the venues, the vendors that you work with, like they make your day.
Yeah.
They are the sweetest people.
They are. Yeah.
Make you feel very at home. But I'm pretty sure they built the venue for their daughter's
Yes.
wedding.
Yeah, that's what I
And-
was going to mention.
Yes, and now it's this huge thing. I think they stay booked up all year long.
And they have two different parts of it on their property, which is like crazy. They have one that's in like the one part of the year, and then they book the other part because of the golden hour switches. And I was
Yep.
just like thinking,
Just to
That's-
have that much like awareness.
Yeah.
It's such a good thing. It
Yeah.
really is.
but yeah. And then we was doing, was it just video that day?
You
Or-
shot video. Wait, was it only video?
It might have been just video.
It was. It was only video. That was the first time that we had worked together. That couple was very sweet. Actually, I remember one thing that I took away from you that day, and I feel like I do it at every session now. You know, the hand
Oh yeah.
the hand touching.
Yeah.
It's so fun to explain to clients that you want them just to like really delicately like
Yeah.
touch each other. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that came from my friend Quentin.
No,
He's a
there's-
genius.
There's so many things. I'm obsessed with this one shot this year that so you take the bride's left hand where the ring's at, you put it on the shoulder, and you slide it down over to the tie, and you have her grab the tie, pull it in. So it's that
Ooh.
little bit of spice.
Ooh.
But on video,
Looks so good.
It looks so good.
Hit me in slow-mo on that one, and you got me hooked.
yeah, and that's what I love about it too, is because like it's just that really good, that little transition, because like I caught myself too whenever I was like editing some of my videos, that it's like, okay, they kiss.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how can you still tell that story without letting break? And that breaks it up, just kind of like just the necktie itself and just the hand. That's more than enough to tell
Yep.
people, the audience and stuff too.
Well, and
so.
truth be told, I feel like when you do what we do, you realize that like actual kissing is often not the most appealing thing. People kiss in such odd ways, and like especially when you're like, you got this high quality video and you're really focused in on it, you just see like you see how that could not be a great thing sometimes. Love is beautiful,
Yeah,
but
I've seen some people in the nicest way possible. I don't know how it was like almost like their first kiss,
Yep.
and I'm just like,
yep.
it's-
And then you say, "How long have you guys been together?"
Yeah,
and they
and they're
say
like,
10 years,
yeah.
and you're like, "Oh."
this is our 20th year together, I'm just like, what? I wow.
Wow.
And so no, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
That's the beauty of sitting behind a computer and getting to analyze so much about what you've shot that day.
Yeah.
But video especially, oh my gosh, like it's I tell people where I've dabbled, I definitely do more photo, but where I have dabbled in video, that's a different beast. Like it's a whole different world when it comes to piecing something together, like in moving parts.
Yes, yeah. I'm starting to get a little bit of a better flow to things, because like many of my shots that I do, I also do them in photo as well, and my package includes both. So it's like I kind of like the drunk walk or like twirls and stuff. A lot of it you can do it. You just got to do, okay, now I got to do a wide shot, I got to do a close shot. So it's the same action, just in a different angle.
Yep.
You can kind of like you can kind of like trick the audience in a way.
Yep.
I'm doing it right now with the reveal. A lot of grooms are at the top when the bride comes down and they turn around. What I've been doing is I show the bride first, then which is all one clip, but people don't know how it's like laid out. Mm-hmm. So like if I'm filming him, his reaction turn around, then I film the bride a little bit closer. I just take the bride close, then the turnaround, then his reaction. So it's kind of like,
baby.
yeah, and people are like, oh my gosh, it looks like you had like 4 different cameras. I was like, no, it's just like
It's actually just me.
it's being told in a different way,
Yep.
and it's a different perspective. So.
Well, and I think that that's interesting. I watch so much TV, and then I also watch a lot of TikTok, and like you'll see whenever a movie's being made, like they definitely do not shoot the scenes in sequence.
No,
They are completely
that's one thing about. I think I was real young and I was obsessed because we had DVDs growing up. We didn't have TV, so like if you watched a movie and you really liked it, you go to the bonus features, and if you get like the good ones that shows like the behind the scenes, all this stuff, and then they realize it'd be like, oh yeah, it's winter and they're filming a summer like
Yep.
scene.
Yes.
You're like, what the heck's going on? And then they're like, yeah, and then this next scene, he's dead, and then you realize, well, he doesn't die until at the very end.
Yes.
So then you start piecing together. Oh, it doesn't need to be like all filmed.
Nope.
And
And if you're a nerd like you or I,
Yeah.
you also get really into like the film continuity, and like if they miss a necklace in one scene, I look for that stuff
Yeah.
every time
My
I
wife
watch
and
a
I-
show or a movie.
My wife and I would be sitting there and be like, oh, that's a blooper right there.
Yep.
And she'd be like, what are you talking about? Let's just go back and rewind and see it. And that's what I look at now so much. But there's like so many of those has been like etched into like filmmaking as a whole. Like, you know, the stormtrooper hitting his head off of, you know, the top.
It's
like,
so funny because my son is he has recently developed like a Star Wars obsession.
Yeah.
I was never that person,
Yeah.
and now I just know so much.
Yeah.
so
There's
much.
so many awesome bloopers, and also I think it's really good because it gives that little bit of authentic, like we understand the filmmaking part of it, so it's just like we know what it goes into, the creativity, and when you see something like that where it's just like, oh, that's not real, like Dante's Peak, which is a 90s movie with like Pierce Brosnan.
Such a good one.
They did the whole volcano explosion, and if you look closely, it's all just a clay model that they just kind of like blew up and just had they had one. It was a tray, not I don't know why it's a truck.
Yep.
On a bridge, and it was all covered in dust to make it look like ash, but they just had like an air compressor just kind of like hit it, so it looked like it was just but when it's being shown, you don't notice it, but for a 90s movie, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
there goes
like pre-CGI, and you're just
Yes,
like,
yeah.
okay.
That's what I like.
see you showing up. Yeah.
That's what I like about it. I have never added any of that. There's little tricks that you can do for just like wedding, you know, photography, you know, or just photography in general. But like, I have never, like, I've seen some on TikTok that is like, they'll get like the steel wool out and they'll do like mirrors and
Yep.
they'll do like the rings, and I'm just like, and I've had Bryson to me like, yeah, that's great. Me thinking, I have no idea where I'm gonna get steel wool. I'm not gonna light anything on fire. You know? I
well-
was like, I don't have that production yet.
Speaking from experience, I have tried to do sessions that included fire twice, and it was just not a good call. And, like, in theory, you think that you're going to walk in and like really show up with this
Yeah.
like artsy, like beautiful moment. In reality, you realize that like in August things are really dry,
Yeah.
and flames tend to spread.
Yeah, I get nervous when the couple wants to do a sparkler session, and they tell me the time, and I'm just like, okay, well, this summer is August.
It's windy.
It's windy. Sun doesn't go down till like 10 o'clock, and your groomsman's been drinking since 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I've had so many. I've had, well,
Yeah.
and just at weddings, because sparklers are still such a to-do. Actually, you know what? Maybe that's what we should invest our time in, is like coming up with new non-lethal wedding exits.
A lot of people's doing bubbles now.
Yeah, bubbles. I love that.
I've seen-
You can't hurt. Well, I guess it could pop in your eye.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, it's still better than open
Yeah.
flame. But no, I have had some groomsmen just be absolutely tanked, and I
Yeah.
see them running full force with fire in their
Yeah.
hands, and I'm just like
I don't-
get me through this
yeah.
next 20 minutes. Like,
I
get me on the road.
I try to really be demanding during that 10 minutes, because there is so many things that could go wrong, and you're also like some people just don't have no responsibility of the shots. And if I'm doing photo and video, we have to do it 2 or 3 times. People don't understand that.
They get frustrated.
And then they also have kids that don't listen. So I also tell them, I don't know how you do, but like I don't give any kids a sparkler. If they want a sparkler, they just can't light it.
Yep.
And I tell people, I was like, I always make the joke. It's like, oh yeah, there's a lot of hairspray today, but there is a lot of stuff that could go wrong. So
listen, it takes longer to light the sparkler than it does for the sparkler to catch your hair on fire, and that is a life fact.
Yeah. Those. Yeah, I've only done. I've seen confetti. I've seen sparklers. I've seen bubbles. I don't know if I've seen anything else.
I want to I don't know. I guess it just depends on like your client and what they want. But like, I would love to see some like butterfly releases.
Yeah.
I would love to see.
Yeah. I want to. I don't know if people do it now because I don't think it's good for the environment. But they used to do, like rice or whatever.
Right. I think it's bad for birds.
Birds or something. Yeah.
The birds don't digest it
But
well.
I want to do a really cool like black and white. I've also had this idea of I want to shoot a whole wedding in black and white.
Oh, I would love to do
And
it
I don't.
in film. Could you imagine?
Which I guess would be like you just shoot in color and you just turn everything
Yeah,
black and
but
white.
I'll tell you, I just don't feel like
Yeah.
sometimes I will edit a photo, and I am the queen of color. So for me to like edit something in black and white, it has to be pretty special. And it always just I don't know, there are moments I feel like that kind of fall flat when they don't have color. That may also just me being crazy. But.
Yeah. I'm gonna give the whole audience kind of insight about me. If you see a black and white photo, it's because the highlights were so blown out that I couldn't do anything.
Oh my God,
so
same. And you never want to like own up to it.
I'm just gonna
like,
let people know I did it recently.
She be bright.
And I was just like, okay, well, but in black and white it does look okay. But I'm just telling you, when you have a wedding at 4:00 in July
so
or
harsh.
June, that's not golden hour, you know. And there's a lot of things that I think photographers. I've been into my second shooter this last weekend, which it wasn't anything about the couple or anything like that, but it's just like, I wish we went through this tradition of okay, well, you got the ceremony, then you have food, and you have all this and stuff like that. I was like, what? Like this timeline is not a set in stone. Like we don't have to go by this. This has all been like a tradition, quote unquote. Like why don't you guys have a party? Wait till it's cool and then do it like at sunset would be amazing to have a ceremony.
Well, and I feel like I've shot so many weddings, and there have been so many times that I've been doing couples photos, which typically happen right after the ceremony because of that. Like that, it's a presumed.
Yeah, they're like,
timeline.
okay, it's like I reserve that for like family photos, but then we just find a shade tree and then we just kind of like crank those out. But
same thing, I'll do ceremony, family photos, and that list is always so crucial to make sure that like everything's as detailed as possible. But when people back at the reception are waiting to eat, they get angry, and then if you take an hour for couples photos, they think it's preposterous. Like who says that has to be that way?
Yeah.
And like you spend so much of your wedding day doing things for other people. Like there have been a few weddings that I've shot that like the bride and groom will go and eat their meal alone together, and not in the actual reception hall. They will. Have a last dance, like things that are actually special and meaningful. And like,
I
here's
do a
my
thing
do
with
what you want to on your wedding day.
I do a thing with my couples because I think it is, I just think it's not even as a photographer. I think it's just as a guest and you're there and stuff. Directly after it, well, they always look to us. We're like, okay, what's next? And I was like, okay, great. Well, how about you guys just go have 5 minutes to yourself?
Yes.
So I find a room or I find somewhere that they can just like spend the first 5 minutes of their married life together where they can actually calm down and see each other, have a moment. And then sometimes it takes 10 minutes, sometimes it takes 5. And people's constantly like, oh, where's so-and-so? I'm just like,
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Baby, don't worry about it.
Yeah. And they're just like, we'll move on. Like, what was good? But everyone... I don't know. Guests are really into a mindset of it has to go this way. It has to go this way. I was like, no. If they're happy, then everybody else should be happy. Right. It does not matter. And I've had lots of couples, and if there's any photographers out there, I really suggest you do it, because it makes the golden hour photos, it makes everything else
Yep.
go a little bit smoother. They are calmer. They're like, okay, thank you so much for just like doing that for us
Yep.
and stuff. I had one reach out list last year. They said it, and they was just absolutely. They said that was their most favorite part, is the fact that you just took control and you took care of everything, and you just gave us. I was just thinking, I was like, well, that's your whole wedding day, and that was your. So 5 minutes is very, very important
Yep.
for everyone.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I do that, and then go straight into the golden hour stuff. But I mean, right now we're getting golden hour 7:45.
Oh my gosh, I have so
You
my
know.
my wedding weekend after next. They booked a 6 hour package. And they really, really, really want to have golden hour, but
Mm-hmm.
just the way things are like lining up right now, it's kind of difficult to get
Yeah.
that to happen. But yeah, I think that I would tell most people, and really what it comes down to, set your ceremony later.
Yeah, it's just fine. I think we're so. I don't know. People eat quick.
They
It's
do.
not. It's not like they need an hour and a half to eat. If you have a good catering company and you put your faith into a good, like if it's not like someone's uncle that's
Yeah.
doing it, or
Yep.
grilling up hot dogs or something like that. If you have, if
Which
you
we do love
hired,
a hot dog.
yeah, but if you're hiring a catering company and paying all that money and stuff, they're going to bring a team with them anyway.
Yes.
They're going to be
Yes.
pushing it out. So you give yourself 30, 40 minutes.
Oh, that's perfect.
I mean, you don't need more than that.
No.
They've already went through. They're talking. They're grabbing a drink. They're already mingling. You want them to be leaving, because once somebody starts leaving, it's like a, stampede. Everyone just like, okay, I
Yes.
can say my goodbyes and leave, because they're saying goodbye.
It is such a
So,
vibe, and like I think that might be like the telltale difference of like a wild like party wedding and a kind of like it closes up a little earlier than you anticipated. Is the guest when they do start to go, it's like
Yeah, there's no stopping
mass
them and stuff.
exodus.
But I try to tell them, I was like, a lot of my clients, I said, like I've done quite a few now. Just let me tell you, like if you want people there for your send off, we need to do it like 8 o'clock,
Yep.
or something like that. We can't do 10:30. We just can't do that.
No.
And
No.
I was like, I'll stay forever as long as you want. And if you want to get photos of your last dance or something like that, I was like, I totally would do that.
now are your
So,
packages set up by hour or they just book you?
they just book me. I'll make it a lot easier because I don't want to rush.
Yep.
I'd rather be there the whole day, get as much as I can. So when I sit down, I know that I was there for everything. However, I will say, if I'm not needed, I'm not needed.
Right.
So
and I feel like, gosh, and I'm sure it's the same. You see so many different scenarios. Like there have been days that I have been booked for 6 hours and I really needed 12. And then
Yes.
there have been times I've been booked for 6 and I really needed 4.
yeah, I've learned that a lot with getting ready. For instance, guys take 10 minutes, girls take 4 or 5 hours, depending on the
Yes.
bridal party. And
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with that. There's hair, there's makeup, there's wardrobe. There's a lot that goes into it. But I tell them, I was like, you know what would it be a good time where you think you're at like 90%?
Yep.
Now let's come in there and let's try to get some of those photos and stuff like that. And that has been working really well for me this year because now I'm showing up about like 11 to like maybe 1 when before I had to show up at like 9.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
well, and like how many photos do you actually want of yourself with the bare
Without-
face,
yeah,
your hair getting
yeah.
curled, like I don't know. That's my biggest thing.
in some venues it's not big enough to have 3 people
Oh, my
in the place
goodness.
getting ready, and that's the thing too. I try to like, I'm very honest with my couples and try to tell them, I was like, okay, I can't shoot that, or let me try to find this. I would rather them find somebody that's going to be able to shoot it. If I'm confident, I'm confident. If
Right.
I'm not, I'm not. And a lot of places I shoot, they're like barns or they're yellow or something like that. I'm just like, okay, listen, a lot of people in there. It's gonna be different colors bouncing
Yep.
off of each other. It's gonna be a little bit harder, so we might have to fake it. And they're once I say that, they're like, oh yeah, totally, because I think it kind of gives them less pressure of like knowing that there's a person there taking their photo
Right.
while they're like not completely ready and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
you
It's
just-
a weird mix.
As a woman, I do not want 400 photos of me before I'm actually ready.
Yeah, and I as a man, I don't want to be sitting in a corner with a camera just taking pictures
No.
of women. I don't want that to be
Just, like, chilling.
my first vibe
No.
and because most of them strangers, some of them
Right.
grandparents, some of them's moms, and I usually take that time. I go to get details, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back and I'll just check in with them, and it's been working out pretty good. But I will say there is some photographers that does amazing job at getting ready ones, and if it hits, it hits. But you have to have a good venue for it.
Yep, and that's not. I guess anytime I go into a wedding, my number, or I guess I have two top priorities. I love a detail shot. Like,
Yeah, I'm really into
I
details. right now.
love details, and then couples photos,
Yeah.
and portraits, like bridal portraits, groomsmen portraits.
Yeah.
To me, those are the things that you are like. I just can't imagine being married for 20 years and going back and being like, oh my gosh, like look how good these forks looked on this table.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't.
A lot of them has just asked me to do it because they want to resell it and they want a good
Right.
picture to resell.
Which honestly,
and I'm just like, okay, that's
I love
cool.
an
Like,
entrepreneur.
yeah,
So
yeah. I see that a lot, and then I've seen a lot of people. A lot of people's not even keeping their dress now. I knew this one girl. She sold her dress, and I saw that it was being resold. Like I talked to her about a month ago. I said, "How many owners?" She said, "Since our wedding, that went through like 4 people."
I mean, it's
And I'm just like, "That's awesome." And
well,
I
you
was like,
wear
"Does
it. You wear it for
Yeah.
6-7 hours. So what? And you do pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I like right now, my wedding dress is sitting in my closet. It has been there since I was married, and I never got it cleaned, which is like. That's like one of the first things you're supposed to do. Like, on wedding days, how
Yeah.
bugs like crawl up under.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're still, it's just still full of like crickets. It's fine.
They're like they make the best like insect netting. Like they should just make like
Oh, and have
Wedding
you seen
dresses.
brides get so upset? Like when they're
Yeah,
like, there
I'm
are
just like-
bugs in this tool. And I'm like,
and
baby,
I'm just like
they love it.
you're doing it.
You-
Like
it's you.
just like
It's you.
it's like we can't help that.
It is bright white. It is hot outside, and they are attracted to it. And
Yeah.
that's how it is. I think that might be like, if I wrote a wedding guide for brides, it would be, don't use sparklers. Your dress will be full of bugs.
Yeah, well, recently I've been obsessed with certain dresses that I've seen brides wear. Is the more I'm gonna butcher this because I don't know what I'm talking about, but
Hit me with your fashion knowledge.
yeah, but more sleeker, less lace.
Yep.
Like more of a elegant, cool style, I guess.
Well,
they still have like a long train, but it's like this girl that I just shot this last weekend. She had like, I told her like multiple times, I was like, your dress is like perfect. If I did like a style shoot, if I did anything like that, I would pick hers.
Yep.
Because I know for me, when I'm shooting it, there's not like, for a lot of lace and details, I don't know if your camera does, but like sometimes mine will not focus completely on it.
Well, and
so-
I have a Sigma. My favorite lens is my 35, and they are known to be like little breathy on
Yeah.
the focus.
Yeah.
And yes, if it's busy, if it has beading, lace,
Yeah.
texture, it can be difficult. Like actually, oftentimes I'll find myself switching to manual just
Yes.
so I can
Yeah.
like get in there.
Yeah, and with hers, I was trying to tell her, I was like, you got certain shadows, black and white, it'll look really good in a harsh light, and it gave her this like super elegant, but then they was up in a field and it worked. I was just like, this is, in my idea is 2024, this is how I would pick it out,
Yep.
because you could stylize it like a lot, and the guy could wear literally anything and just be fine too, and
Yep.
it matches. But I've seen a lot. I've seen some dresses with absolute crazy detail in it, and you're looking at it, and it's like, to me, I'm amazed every single time,
Yep.
because I'm just like, I don't actually get it
Yep.
on that fashion side of it, but I like simple when it
Yep.
comes to photography or something like that. And when guys as well, like I've shot some guys where there's kind of like a trend now that they're wearing just, some of them don't wear a tie. They'll just wear like a really nice like dress shirt. White button up. Even like a full suit, just not like tie, just
No
kind of like
tie.
casual.
Yep.
And I was like, I kind of like that.
It's
and stuff.
nice. And also there's all this pressure for like your wedding day for you to be like your most like, like you want to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
over the top.
yeah.
But like I feel like comfort is very important because there's nothing worse than being in 80-degree heat and having, your top buttoned and your
Yeah.
tie, on there.
And these
like,
guys, they pulled it off really well. He had a different color jacket, and the groomsman had a different color, and his boutonniere was obviously different. So he's already looking different than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But you could tell that they was so much more comfortable. And I looked at every single one of them. I was like, every single one of these guys
Dapper.
is good, and it's not like over the top like yeehaw. You know what I mean?
No.
It wasn't like
Which you know what's so funny that you say that? You know what I have recently like really loved? It's like a little like bolo necktie.
yeah.
Oh my God. Like
Yeah,
hit me with
yeah.
that. That is so cute.
It's interesting to see like some of these people can really pull it off, and then some they just need a little bit of help and
Yep.
just like
Which I think a lot of clients are scared to ask as the photographer. Like I ask most of my brides, like shoot me some photos of what you're trying on
Yeah.
your day of, like because I can definitely give you guidance on what will and won't photograph well. It does it makes a difference.
Yeah.
It
navy blue right now and greens and pinks and tans and stuff. I know I can edit that really well.
Yep. like I was saying before, whites. That's what,
Yeah.
and like every bride, of course, white is
Yeah.
one of the most difficult colors for me to like nail because it always either goes too warm or too cold.
Yeah.
And so when you do have groomsmen in like stark white dress shirts,
Yeah.
it gets a little.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's been an absolute favorite one.
I love rust. Like I love like
Yeah.
I love a fall wedding, but like anything like rust red, like oranges, burgundy.
It edits well. I don't think people really realize that those like earthy tones.
Yep.
They really do edit. Like I think it's probably because like your skin tone and complexion, it doesn't make you look super orangey. It makes you like you can pull a little bit of that color out, and
Yep.
then you don't have to like pull those faces out and
Yep.
stuff. It makes it. That's what it's like. Once they start looking like a cheese puff, you know you went too far.
Listen, and I try so hard. Skin tones are like that's one of the things I will constantly like hope I continue getting better at.
Yeah.
But when you see orange skin in a photo, that's an immediate for me. Like, oh, like that was not.
It's
you
just an
know.
immediate preset. And
Oh,
and
you
stuff,
just slap it
so,
on top and don't play
yeah.
with it.
Yeah, and I've had situations too, like where I'm shooting people and just the light and stuff too. Like that's the thing, you've got to like really understand your preset or understand your edit, because when you put it into a different light, it's going to automatically change. And
Oh gosh,
but now
yes.
people are enjoying. They're enjoying flash photography. They're enjoying harsh light, like right into it. And I'm just like, I'm getting like really irked on TikTok recently because people have been trying to sell these vintage cameras, and they're just digital
Like
cameras.
I'm the sucker for that. I'm that person.
But they're like from 2010 is what
Oh,
we had.
well-
and all they're doing is using a freaking flash, and that's all.
That's
they're
all it
doing.
is. Well, okay,
And
so
I'm just like,
and I will say, so I
that's
like
not vintage.
I know, and I have shot several weddings, and it actually was kind of cool. They went on eBay. They did buy like some like Nikon Coolpix,
Yeah.
or like little Olympus cameras. They gave them out to the bridesmaids and groomsmen and let them just take like almost like photo documentary style, and it was cute. Like it was a cute idea. Like you can buy one of those cameras for $25 and you know you put your
Yeah.
SD card in it and whatever. That's one thing. Oh my gosh, I also just hit this microphone, so I'm thinking like how
No, you're fine.
will it pick up the vibration?
No, it's fine.
But I got suckered into the Fujifilm X100V, and I will tell you that like I love the way old film looks, and that has been one of the best purchases because it has like in-camera flash, and you can basically upload your own film recipes. Like
Yeah.
you just curate it to look like whatever. So I'll have Portra 400 or whatever it is on there, and actually I have it in my bag. But that style and that look, I adore it. And like
Yeah.
receptions, you're not going to get dazzled by it really, like in the middle of the day or whatever. But in a reception area that's dark and you
Yeah.
put that flash on, there's something there. Like there's just there's a vibe, and
Yeah.
it's old school, and I love that.
Two people that's been killing the reception photos with that type of vibe this year, in my opinion, has been Ethan Witt and Dakota Burns.
I love Dakota Burns. He's from Boone
So,
County as well, so
yeah.
I like.
I'm gonna
his-
reach out to him soon. I'm hoping, but
he's very talented.
This year, he is. I really hope if he's watching this, he understands that he's onto something, and he's going to
Dakota.
Yeah,
You've cracked the code.
yeah. And he just posted something.
Was it the elevator pictures? Listen to
yeah.
us fangirling right now.
Yeah, he did.
Dakota.
Yeah. And I think Ethan just posted a set where he did detail shots of the reception. So it was like instead of the details of the wedding at the beginning where you usually do, he did details of the reception.
Ooh.
And that was so I was like, dude, that was so freaking genius. I think it was him. It was either him or Dakota.
I
one
may
of
have
the two.
seen something like
But
this on TikTok as well, where you get like
look it
a
up.
piece of cake that's been cut, and like it's reception details, like it's its own thing, which I have never really thought about doing that, but that might be. I'm actually so excited for this wedding I have coming up, so I can try out some new stuff. Also, I'm trying to think what my last wedding was in December, so it's been a minute, and I'm ready to hit the ground running.
I'm trying to find him right now on it because really want to I want to make sure I give credit where it's due.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep, it was him. So he did like bush light and like wrappers of like a cupcake.
Is that a s'more?
Yeah, and then
Stop
he literally
it.
he said, "Pro tip: make the reception in time to remember." And that was like a whole set. And I was like, "Dude, that is
What a
such
brilliant idea."
Yeah, I was like, "You killed it with
Okay.
that and stuff." So,
All right, Ethan.
but yeah, Dakota's been doing stuff too as well. It's been just absolutely amazing. And
He's like a true. Sometimes I think about myself as a photographer and an artist, and like I don't have like a single niche. I shoot everything. I shoot families. I shoot maternity. I'm very much like a business. I admire Dakota so much because he is truly like he's just a creative. I feel like his eyes see the world differently, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, I also feel like he doesn't. This is not like a drag on him or anything like that, but he definitely I don't think needs to be in West Virginia.
No, he does not. No,
he doesn't look like he's in West Virginia.
No.
He needs to be. He shoots in like this New York, LA type of style. It's very urban style. Like he could thrive. He really could.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, if you're watching this, dude, it's not and.
We like you.
That's like, yeah, we love you, and I'm so glad that you are in West Virginia. But at the same time, I was like, dude, you got to leave, man. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about kind of like what you shoot with, how you got started, what you're doing now, the whole entire like setup, pretty much. And
so my background is in TV news, which I feel like at one point a lot of people knew that, and it's been so long now that not a whole lot of people know that. So I started out in journalism. I was a news reporter, had like a little point and shoot camera. I would shoot news stories and it would just be video. I left TV news to go to state government PR, and I ended up, I think it was 2018, 2019, playing with a DSLR for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I had a little boy, and I remember thinking like it would be so nice to be able to take photos of him and not constantly book photos, because I was very extra with that first kid, trying to do the most. And I ended up getting a Nikon D850, which at that time everything had kind of started to trend towards mirrorless, but that was like the powerhouse.
yeah.
I started shooting photos of my friends' kids. I mean, I'm talking like $25. Like I'd say, like, meet me at the Capital Market and let's do this. And then it started to take off. I don't think that I ever really anticipated it becoming that way, but it did, and it was pretty quick too. So then I think I got the camera in October of 2018. And shot my very first wedding. It was one of my friends from high school. It was a wedding video in December of 2018. So it was pretty quick. Mm-hmm. I did not know what I was doing. And I look back, and honestly, it's kind of like sweet just because like she gave me that opportunity and that really launched something. But I definitely learned as I went. Over the course of the last 6 years, I have gone from D850 to I got a Nikon Z7. That was my first mirrorless. Fell in love.
Yeah.
Did you ever shoot DSLR?
Yeah, so I shot with So I've went through all the big three, and I'm on Sony now. But like I started.
Everyone
with
ends up.
Nikon.
Everyone knows
Yeah.
Sony's the best.
Yeah, I just depends on what you're doing and stuff. I say this too on a lot of episodes.
You can't rival it with video.
Yeah, and if I'm doing just portraits, I'm probably going to pick a Canon. If I'm just doing sports photography, I'm probably going to pick Nikon.
Really?
Yeah. I have some of the best sport photography that I've ever done is all been shot with Nikon. So I'm like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
So, but I had a Canon Mark II. I shot with it, and then I went to mirrorless in 2019. Yeah, 2019.
I think not
Yeah.
19, or maybe it was. Yeah, it was 19. I think that I got my
It's a
first
different
mirrorless.
feeling. It's
Well,
like-
and to be able to see exactly what you're shooting, like it takes that
Yeah.
like guesswork out. Like I used to read my light meter and always be like
Yeah.
overexposed, and now
Yeah.
you can see that. And
I think it's one of those things that you should definitely. I think what it helps me is like if I didn't start with one at some point in my early career, I would never been able to like be as comfortable as I am now with them. Because now I'm
Yes.
doing things I'm just like, okay, I already know. Like I don't need to second guess the ISO, the shutter. I know a couple clicks now in my head. I'm just like, yeah, that's too bright.
Yes.
I don't even have to look.
Oh,
at
and
it.
do you do
So-
all of it? Like, because I know my camera so well that like I feel like sometimes during sessions, if a client were to look
Yeah,
at me
they say
and
it-
I'm like boom boom, and they're just like, what is happening over there?
They get me constantly. I've had them multiple times where some of these clients, they just crack me up because I'm just like, yeah, the ISO's just too bright. And it's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
What's
And
ISO?
I was like, I pretty much just tell them, I was like, the image is too bright. Let's just wait a second or something
Yep.
like that. Yeah, it happens multiple times. But I think that's like, if you're that comfortable with the camera, then you're definitely, because when I started with a Nikon, I had a Nikon D3200, and that thing is like the kit, like it's like the Rebel 6.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
whatever.
the
like
equivalent.
from like
Yep.
Canon and stuff. So when I had that, I shot with that thing, and I was putting out some good images, but I wasn't shooting in RAW. I didn't even know about that yet, so I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I knew so much about the camera, and I was to a point I was like boom boom boom, I was hitting stuff, but I was like, I just need that pop. I was only shooting with one lens. I didn't have a prime
What was
lens.
it?
It was just there was two of them that came
My
with
first
it.
was
It
a
wasn't
20,
even-
24 120. I hadn't even touched a
Yeah.
prime lens, and I
Yeah,
remember thinking
same.
like
Same. It, well, I bought a 50 1.8.
that was my first was my Nifty 52.
Yeah, and it was a. Yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Tammy something.
Oh,
Tamicon.
not Tamron.
Not Tamron. There's another one that's like.
It's the ghetto Tamron.
It was the ghetto Tamron, and it was cheap, but it was like Tammy Cron. I don't know. It was some.
Yeah, it's one that pops up on Amazon, and
I was like,
it's $120
yeah.
cheaper.
And I was like, I'll definitely get that. And I took it, and I took a different image, and I had a really. I still remember this shoot. It was a senior shoot at Alder State Park, and I did this photo of and he was standing there, and he threw the football up, and I took that picture, and I looked at it on the back of that camera, and I said, I didn't even know this camera could do that.
I am magic.
Yeah, and I was just like, this is insane. So it kind of gave me a whole different. I was like, that's what a different lens does.
Yeah.
No one
Yes.
told me or explained to me the difference of like focal length or aperture at that point. I was taking it and I thought, okay, well, this can give me an image far away.
Yep.
And that was it. And I didn't know. I was like, well, this is a 50. They said this is good for portraits, but I have to be close.
Yep.
So I did that, and I got it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So then I became obsessed, and I switched over. I had a buddy in college. He got, the college I was working for, he was a photographer, and he sold me his Canon, and that thing was a beast.
Was it a Mark or?
It was a Mark II.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that thing was just like. It was so impressive from what I was using. I could take a image of a trash can and make it look artsy.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I had a CF card and it didn't have SD, so I was just like, I felt like I was on a different planet.
Oh,
when I
yeah.
swapped
You
this
hit the-
hard
you
drive
hit the
out
big
and
time.
and
Yep.
and so I shot with that, but then I was like, I want to do video. And then I started looking. I was like, well, I know I'm gonna be doing weddings. I know I got to do low light. I want to do more stuff. And at the time, that was the one I got, but they don't even make that body now. So
What one is that?
This is 7R3.
Which Sony camera is it that you actually hit an ISO like plateau where it becomes clearer? Like you hit like 1600 and it actually gives you less like grain. I don't know a ton about the cameras. I just know that like generally speaking, they are excellent for photo. They're excellent for video. The Sony glass is expensive.
Yeah, this 85 1.4. I talk about this on every episode too. Is that is an $1,800 lens.
Sheesh.
But it's worth every single dollar of
Yep.
that. I've gotten some of my best images with it, but right now I want to get a 35 1.4, and
That's my
wouldn't
favorite
see
lens.
me not using the 50, 85, or 35 at all. And I just want the 35 because I need it for larger group shots to be a little bit more sharper.
You know what's so funny?
That's all I need. Really. And vlogging and like videos like that.
No, it's
So-
truly it's my favorite lens, and I started with a 50, fell in love with that. I moved on to 85 after, and I actually got a Nikon brand at 1.8. But when I got the 35, I will tell you right now, it barely leaves my camera.
Yeah.
Like it stays on all
That's
the
what
time.
I request most of my second shooters to bring.
Is a
They have
35?
it. And
Yep.
So I just did the one this last week, and I told her, I was like, you leave that on there. And then the only thing that she shot differently was during the ceremony, she did the 7:2. That way, because she shot in the back, she could still like get close up. And then on like a harsh light day, you can kind of crop that in, and it doesn't look as bad.
Yep.
So she did that, and she was focused mainly on photos, and I did video. But that 35, I mean,
that'll complete your kit, truthfully.
Yeah,
like once
and
you get it, I think that you'll be super happy.
I have a backup camera that I take to. Is the 7A is the first one of this R series, and you can tell the difference between it. It feels cheaper. It feels like it was the first one, but it still takes great photos. And if something happens, I have one that will still take photos and raw that will give the client some ease of mind. You know, like I'm probably going to freak out about it, but they are still going to get a high quality image.
Right.
So
I shoot on. I switched over last year to a Z8. Such a powerhouse, but I still have my Z7 body and I still have my D850 body because I am so paranoid that something's going to go awry.
No, I talk about it too. A lot of people, they resell things too, and I'm just like, no, just hoard it all. It's okay because you really don't know.
It's little pieces of your soul.
Yeah.
Are you a Harry Potter nerd?
Yeah.
Okay, it's like our Horcruxes.
Yeah.
Literally, I have camera bodies that I've split my soul into. It's fine.
That's hilarious, actually. Well, and that's the thing. Like we was talking a little bit about like my Instagram and stuff before we was recording. Is that you can see the different ways of different cameras that I've used and stuff too. And I think that's a very good way to put it.
It's a Horcrux.
Yeah. But yeah. So have you always been on Nikon then?
Yeah. I have
always?
and honestly, I feel like I probably. After the D850, I would have probably been smart to make the change to Sony, but I had so many lenses that it just... Well, and I also... all my lenses are F mount, and I have an adapter to go over to Z, and that doesn't help either with, like, I was talking about that focus breathing thing. It definitely makes things a little bit slower, but it's also expensive.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize when you get into photography that, like, you're walking around with a bag full of insane amounts of money.
I told my wife one day, because like one of my other hobbies, like I game a lot too. Like during COVID,
What do you play?
everything.
You ever play PUBG?
Yeah, I play PUBG.
I don't play, but I could sit and watch that for hours.
I just started, like usually what I do, I edit through the day, and then at night I just try to give myself some time to like calm down and stuff. And which is crazy because I'll play anything from like these hardcore like COD games or something like that where I'm killing a whole bunch of people, but it's just like
Zombies.
I'm like, yeah, I'm real calm right now, guys, and stuff. But yeah,
It gives me anxiety.
Yeah, but recently I've been playing Manor Lords. I think it just came out in April, and it's like you build your own like village, and you have to like forest, and like it's a tycoon game, and I love tycoon.
So it's
games
giving
because,
like medieval Sims.
yeah, it's exactly what it is.
It's medieval Sims
pretty much, and you gotta like have food. And I was playing it last night until like 2 o'clock in the morning, but it was like nice because me and my buddy, we was just in there and we just kind of like, we spent all these hours just kind of like just chilling. But yesterday was kind of crazy because I edited 2 wedding galleries, and I probably did I actually counted. It was like 4,300 photos.
Your eyes hurt?
Yeah. I was just going through
It's like, are you in pain?
I was just like, I got to do something. So around 9 o'clock, I got that, and I was playing it, and I was pretty hooked. So, but yeah, I was telling her, I was like, I picked literally the most too expensive hobbies there is, I feel like. And like my gaming PC is what I edit the majority of my stuff on too, because the graphics card in it is just a beast, and it makes it a lot easier.
NVIDIA, what do you got? What's in there?
I got a 3800, so it's I upgraded it and my CPU last year. I built my PC during COVID with a buddy from high school because I'm really big if I'm buying something, I really want to learn about it, because if it breaks, I'm not going to pay someone else to fix
do it.
I
right.
wanna, and that's just, I think, growing up poor.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the struggle.
Yeah. And I was just like, I couldn't do that.
Tell me you're from Calhoun County and Boone County without telling me.
Yeah. So basically, and the guy that I went to high school with, he had his master's degree in computer science. So like, it wasn't like somebody that I was just be like, yeah, let's just do this.
Right.
But I realized you have like 8 pieces, and it's adult Legos pretty much. And if you think of it that way, it's a very easy concept.
I hate Legos.
And when something broke on it though, like I was like, yep, I'm in there.
Click it right in there
and stuff. But when I built it, I was like, well, I game, and I also want to build it for photography too. So I knew what I was trying to like get into. But now I have built it mainly for photography. So like, I can go into Lightroom, I can export stuff. It would take me like hours to do like a 2-minute video.
Yeah.
Now it takes me like 20 minutes. I can have it out in 4K, easy as can be. Like,
I cannot tell you.
And it won't crash.
Do you edit in Premiere? I'm sure you do. I am the world's most insane person, because anytime I sit down to edit a wedding video, I control S so many times. Like, you know what I mean? Just because like sometimes Lightroom just says like, sorry about your luck.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that for
Yeah.
you. So it's crucial to have a computer that can handle that program, because it's huge.
Yeah. I also recommend so I bought 3 years ago, I bought a 20 terabyte external hard drive, which is massive.
Yeah, that's a big gal.
I still have not filled it up, which is amazing, because I put all my auto saves on it, so it takes less pressure off your CPU, so you can like run it a lot quicker.
Listen to your computer doctor.
I'm just
You got all the knowledge.
No, what I call it is like, you've heard that saying, is like the laziest person will find the easiest way to do something.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, and I really try to do that. Like, I'm always trying to like figure out. I was like, I'll learn about it, but I mean, I'll do something where I'm just like, okay, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
I'm
too much.
I'm over that.
Yeah,
but I got that, and that has been really helpful, because my auto saves is there. I put all my raws on there. I put all my edits on there, and then they go into the cloud for like on Pixieset for the client. So like, it's literally saved in 3 different places. So if something happens,
right,
I have a backup on a backup.
And basically, the only thing that could interfere with that is like a asteroid hits Earth or
yeah. I have it plugged into a surge protector too, because I just don't trust it.
No,
I have been really lucky with my clients of not having technical difficulties. I've had little ones.
Yep.
And
it's inevitable.
Too much pressure.
Well, and you feel this huge responsibility.
I feel like an absolute failure.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, well, you just told me to do that, and I was not prepared.
Yep.
Even though it's nothing like you could do about it at the time or anything like that, and I used to be like that way with like weather too during the wedding days, and now I'm just like, if it rains, who gives a shit? I'm artsy. Let's do it.
It's fine. Let's run out there. Let's do this. Yeah.
I was like, we'll get a great notebook wedding. We'll do this. Or if the weather's harsh, or if it's super cold, super hot, I'm like, I can't control that.
No. And you also you know the month that you get married in, and you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And what typically happens. So
yeah,
it's always a mess, but
Yeah, I did a December wedding a couple years ago, and it was snowing that week before, and the couple was like so upset. They were like, "We don't know if we're gonna get people here." I was like,
Oh, give me the
I
snow.
was like, "You guys literally doing a Christmas wedding. What was you gonna do?"
Give me
Like,
the snow.
you
Actually,
know?
I would hope for that. I would be the person that was like I would be so stoked.
Yeah.
I don't. That's always so gratifying because even on TikTok and everything now, you know
Yeah.
how you get fed all the information about your insights, and like if you lose someone after like 20 seconds, you're always like,
Yeah.
what did I do wrong?
Well,
Like,
I've come to the conclusion too is like, there's so many people, and there's 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
This is the perfect time to create any type of content. All you need is one person to see it, and
Yep.
then another person, and it builds on each other. If your stuff is not being seen, it's because you're not putting it out there enough.
No.
Simple as that.
Yep.
There's 8 billion people. That's what 8 plus 8 is 16 million eyes.
math is not my strong suit.
You know, what I mean?
There's a reason why I take
I'm, like,
pictures
trying
for
to
a
do,
living.
like, million right now. But my whole point is like there was like a stat or something. I saw something on Twitter one time. It was talking about like, oh, there's been so many pictures been taken in just this 5 minutes of you reading this tweet or something like that. I'm like, the world's being more documented today than it has ever been before. So it's like, we see things, people will see things. You never know when you're going to go viral.
No.
And this is kind of a good little segue
This
too.
is, yes.
Because you've been viral like multiple times. You have been for like on TikTok. You've been on just your other social medias as well for creative shoots. And then probably one of the I think is funny. I don't know.
Oh, gosh.
Anyone else, but like the Hooters.
The Hooters Vigil.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny about that is and that actually might be a great way for me to introduce the going viral thing. I will tell you, when my very first post went viral, it was like the toddler senior photo session, and that blew up. Prior to that, I had been doing shoots, and I had been like kind of like searching out like passion projects to like highlight people that I thought had an interesting story.
Yeah.
I was trying to create content that people wanted to share, that people wanted to be involved in. Never worked. I shot that photo session. They had won that in a contest giveaway I did on my page. Didn't get paid for it. Showed up. The kids were actually wonderful. Their names are Deacon and Macy, and they were just like sweethearts. And it ended up being a good shoot. I post those. I didn't think anything of it. I did not think for a split second. And then I checked my phone, and I had like over, I think within the first few minutes of it being up, it had already been shared like over like 300 or 400 times. And I was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
What is happening? So one thing I will say for anyone who like wants to go viral, you have no control.
No,
You have no control.
It's very scary. I've only been viral one time, and it was on YouTube actually, and it was a YouTube short, and it was a reaction of a groom to a bride, and I posted it. I did a whole thing where I was posting one YouTube short every 90 days. I was really trying to like get a good data set point of like, okay, this is what my account was. And I posted it. It was one of the first ones I did, and I just let it be. It didn't do anything for like 40, 50 days, just sat there. All of a sudden, it blew up. My phone blew up. I was getting 100,000 views per day. It is sitting at 1.2 million right now.
And you just sit and think like,
and I'm just like,
what did I do?
I thought I got hacked, and my notifications, because a lot of the people that was commenting, it was a lot of Russian, like, and I was
that
like,
does raise some eyebrows.
and I looked back at it, and I think this is crazy because like I earned like 1,500 like subscribers off of that one clip.
Are you monetized now?
Yeah,
That's so
I got
freaking
partner,
cool.
about 2 months ago.
Yee!
So, which I still don't know anything about. I made $9 last week, and I have no idea how I did it. I'm just like,
I'm like a TikTok. I got invited to be like I don't know if you call it a creator or what, but like I get all these people that send like, hey, if we send you this product, will you review it and share it?
oh, that's cool.
But it's like, it still doesn't feel.
No,
It's just so strange.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know. So, like, I was sitting there and I was working an event for tourism. I was down in Hinton for the railroad days, and I was telling my coworker, she was a little bit older, and I was telling her, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going viral." She was like, "Oh, that's nice, sweetie." Like, she didn't
So
understand.
cool.
I was like, "No, this has just got 100,000 views, like right now." And she
And
was like,
still like,
she
oh.
was like, oh, so proud of you. And I was like, okay. So I went to bed and then I checked it that night and it was up to like 150. And then I started looking at the hourly. I was getting 10, 20,000 an hour. And then I was like, okay, if I go to bed tonight, it's probably going like in. That's going to be an awesome clip. I go to bed, I wake up, it had got 250,000 in just overnight.
It's so cool.
So now
like,
it's up to 300. And then it did it the whole week. And then there was a point, I was 120,000 every single day. And I was just sat there and I was like, is this thing going to stop? Like,
and you just don't know.
And then I'm thinking, okay, well, how do I benefit off this?
Yep.
But then I started looking at the analytics and it sucked because it was all like 65-year-old women from Russia
Yep.
was watching this. And I don't know if it was, I used a song, it was Golden Hour. And I don't know if that song just got released in that country.
Yep.
I don't know if it was something. But all the comments was like legit comments because I had to translate them in Google Translate. But they was all saying.
I imagine this being a very conflicting time for you.
It was just all over the place, and I was like, so now what I'm trying to do with my account is like, okay, I'm trying to put content out there. However, most of my audience is 65-year-old women that probably lost their husband in the gulag, and I'm just like,
bless their hearts.
a little babushka, you know?
A little babushka, my little redheaded babushka in West Virginia.
And I'm just like, what is going on right now? And I'm looking at it, and I'm trying to look at the analytics, and I'm learning so much about it. They just released an A/B like thumbnail testing. This in beta this last couple months, and you upload 3 different thumbnails, and I think it's been amazing. I did it for the first time this last week. It was a Western behind the scene photo shoot that I just did, and I was like, well, I'm gonna just try it. I'm gonna like see if it works or not. Well, my engagement is up 48%.
Ooh.
So that video now, I checked it, has had 400 views, which as a small creator for long form video,
that's yeah,
that's good. Anytime I hit 100, I'm like, okay, on to the next.
Yes,
I've made it.
Yes.
But now that one's on like 406 and it's trending upwards, and then it's all being on YouTube recommended. So I'm just like, okay, well, is it hitting the right audience? Is it doing this? So like I'm even thinking about like this with like the podcast or like even photos that you put out there. It's like you just got to like post it, move on.
Yep.
And you can't get in your mindset about that because the thing is like with your post, like it's exactly what you said. You posted it, didn't even think anything of it.
And then there it went.
Yep. And you can't control what people like.
And one thing that I'm happy about is that was very much kind of like branded for moms that had younger kids.
Yeah, that's all your style now. So,
yes.
So
I hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
And I had a ton of it went viral. I had a lot of people from out of state that like would message like, hey, I want to book this. And I'm like, baby, I don't live in Arkansas. Like, it's not going to happen. But also a very large local following. And that, I mean, honestly, that kind of set the tone for my business. That may have been the very point that it went from hobby to career for me. And then from that point on, you know, there are several things I've done that I've tried to like, or that I've thought would be viral. The Hooters thing, I did that because I was genuinely curious. I wanted to show up and just see what it was like. And truthfully, I ended up getting interviewed by the Washington Post for that. But it's like, I don't know. Sometimes you would hear like, hey, people had a vigil for a Hooters that closed, and you're like, oh my gosh, like where is this? Of course, it's West Virginia. But really, the nicest people, and like to come together for anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I loved it. I really did.
And a lot of those people too, they're like bikers, and there's like this crowd that you wouldn't even think. And my wife, she worked at Harley Davidson for 2 years down here, and it's just one of those things you hear it constantly about not judging other people and stuff. And we live into such a world that appearance and everything, like we just within 5 seconds we're judging their whole life.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she goes and she's like, those are some of the nicest people. I trust them with my life. And I was like, well, if that's the case, and I went to a couple like they would have like these like monthly like bike meetings or something like that. And
You're such an expert. You know the bike meetings.
I don't even know. And so I just showed up and a supportive husband and stuff. And but yeah, they all added me on like Facebook. Really nice people. She's part of a roller derby, and
now I have seen photos of that, and like that is something that I feel like I would love, like just to get a little bit of like violence out, you know?
It'd
be
I could see you
such a
doing
blast.
Sure. Yeah, every Tuesday they're in Huntington. So,
it might be that might be. I need another hobby. Like I need a hole in the head, but
I didn't know anything about it very much, and she's taught me a lot. And she's the type of person that she will just grab something and she'll just do it, and I'm just like, okay,
let's
do it. And she was like, I want to do roller derby. I was like, you haven't hit a person in your life. And
today's the day.
She texted me, she had a bout in Akron on Saturday, and I texted her and I was like, how many penalties you get into? She said, just 2. And I was like, okay. And that's like if you're going like offside, or like if you hit somebody after the whistle, and apparently she does that quite a bit. And I was like, dang,
Kennedy's taking out all the aggression.
She comes back with bruises and stuff, and I'm just like, people's going to think
what a baddie.
Yeah,
I love it. Oh no, Quentin's hurting her.
Well, she said that one time. She's like, no one's going to think you hit him.
No, you don't give that energy. It's not there.
Well, I think she was more mean. Like, I'm just I was not like going to do that at all. You know what I mean and stuff. But yeah, she's killing it. But that's like another group of people that they just instantly judge, but they do some amazing things, and they're just sitting there, and those are the type of stories. I think as a photographer, I see that,
and you want to tell that.
And you're just like, this is such a cool person. And they're just a genuine person that's just living their life and just trying to. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Well,
like, who cares?
And I think like a lot of the time I used to, as a photographer, get really caught up in like what are people's perceptions of me? Like, do they see my work and do they think that's embarrassing, or do they think that's amazing, or this is? And it can be such a difficult career because we really are we are fueled by feedback.
Yeah.
And we put so much value of ourselves and what other people think of our work. But the longer that I've been in this field, I kind of just realized, like, if I'm getting booked, someone out there likes my work.
Yeah.
If I shoot a photo and I'm really proud of that, sometimes that's enough.
Yeah.
I think you seek a lot of approval. And
I also went through this phase, and this is me being young and, like, ignorant and stuff to the world and stuff. But when I was younger, I really wanted to put my my business, I guess, in a sense of like, well, I'll only shoot this and that, and I don't market certain things. I just market what I enjoy, but I don't care like if it's like a same-sex marriage or if it's like they're black or white. I don't care. I'm just like, just smile, be happy, love each other. I just don't care. And I'm looking at like what younger me would still been open to it, but wouldn't know how to like
approach it. I actually, as I just did a Pride post, the crosswalk in Huntington, where honestly, sometimes even like talking about stuff like that, I hate to give attention to people who are horrible.
Yeah, I think that's from being in a small town. I went to college, and even though it was Glenville, like, you get open-minded real quick, and that's the thing. And I just, like, if it personally doesn't affect me, then I should not care about how someone else lives their life.
No. And I
just, like, move on.
Like, as crazy as it is, so I grew up in Van, West Virginia. I graduated with 23 kids, super small school.
Smaller than us.
Yeah.
69, so
listen to that.
I always say that, too, because I always think that's a good stat.
Oh, it's 69 kids in my class. Yeah, 23. And out of my classmates, several of my classmates were gay. I think only one of them actually came out in high school. But ironically, being like in the heart of Appalachia, like all of us were just so close. Like judgment was really never there.
Yeah, that's
and I'm so glad I grew up like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm thankful that, and now, and I commented about it in my post, like I do have a platform,
Yeah.
and for me to be able to voice things that I'm passionate about, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to see other people with similar views. Of course, you'll get people in the comments that are
Yeah.
assholes.
Yeah. It's just weird because people are bold on social media for no reason, and I'm just like,
You know what I love though is like there's this part of me that I can, and I don't like to be like, you know, combative or whatever, but I can hand it
Yeah.
right back, and I don't care. Like I just, you know, I love my people, I love my clients, and it's cool for me to be able to highlight that, and if anybody comes for them, then the cool thing is that community I built, they're right there with me.
yeah. We've kind of established that a lot with some of our photographer friends in that group chat.
Yes.
I won't even say the incident, but gosh dang, I don't even know where I was at, but I came back into service. I know that. And my phone blew up, and I was trying to figure it out. Do you know which incident I'm talking about? There's like this woman.
Spill the tea.
She didn't like one of the photographer's photos, and there really honestly wasn't. She was kind of like doing what she was dealt with the environment and what she paid for. I looked at it and I was just like, no, that's just fine what it was. But she like created a lot of Facebook drama and was like saying a lot of stuff. And all the photographers was in there is like, instantly went to her post, and there was like 20 of them that just went bam. Well, I love her photos and blah blah blah. I'm gonna hire her for this, hire her for this, and I went on there too, and it's really nice because that poor girl, that the photographer that shot it, and so she's very talented, and she's very that could have been a make or break moment for her, and we don't know in 5 years or not that she could be literally one of the best in the state.
Yep.
And one nasty person that just didn't agree because they was being cheap.
Yep.
Pretty much what could have ruined her whole entire outlook on photography.
And it's unfortunate. So we've talked a lot about like going viral and all the positives about social media. You know, I think everyone at some points had like an unhappy client.
Yeah.
Your business can very easily be impacted by something that's not even true.
Yeah. Or you have control over, you know, and I think as a photographer, we're sitting there and we have control over the tool that we're using, but we don't have control over all the other.
No, I mean, there's a
but,
million things that go into a shoot. And
Yeah.
that is another thing that I'm happy that I have been able to create is the people who do continuously book me time and time and time again. I don't really ever have to worry about if there is a negative social media post or someone's angry at me for whatever. Like, I have a community and they are supportive, and I mean, honestly, they've helped me take this from, hey, I have a camera, let's take pictures, to this is my business.
Yeah.
Like, I have a studio, I have a schedule that stays booked. Like, it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's very complicated.
I think is a little bit more common, and I could be wrong with this, but this is kind of like my perspective on it, is that I think it's a little bit more common for that community aspect to be involved with like a woman photographer.
Oh, for sure.
Than a male photographer, because, which, I mean, I always post a picture and stuff on Twitter because Twitter's like Wild Wild West, but like I always post on there a couple times because it's just an event, because there was a guy in the bleachers by himself, and then there's a whole entire crowd of people cheering, and one says support and the other one says congratulations.
Yep.
And that's the way people tend to seem. Is like, when I need you the most, I don't feel like there's a very select handful of creators that will like back you up, or do that. Like Autumn's one of them. I would text her, and within minutes she'll give me something, ease my mind, or like help me out or something like that. But there's not very many people out there, and I think in West Virginia, that's the whole reason why we wanted to do this podcast, and we wanted to try and build more of that community, because we look at each other and it's like, you're shooting stuff that I'm never ever I don't have interest in.
Right.
I don't look at as you as a competition. You shoot on a different
Yep.
camera. You shoot, a different style. You shoot with different type of clients, different everything. So it's like, why should I look at you as like a complete?
Yeah, we both do the same thing, but we probably could not be any different in how we do it. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And the way just we approach things and stuff too. I think there's a lot of people that just like, oh, they see a camera and there's honestly competition. Well, if you have that same mindset, every single person that had a smartphone would be your competition.
Because they are increasingly better and better and better.
Yeah. So I think I'm trying to like really build in more of an open mind, even like when there's younger photographers or there's like older photographers too, because older can be just as judgmental
Yep.
as
I think that what you run into, or what I have, and we both did you shoot for the state when you were with the state?
Probably not comment on that.
Okay, all right. Well, honestly,
I would say no.
There's some bad blood there for me too, so we'll just let it be.
No, because my bad blood is nothing. Like it's COVID is what happened. I got hired a week before COVID, and it was pretty much my dream job. And as soon as I got there, they changed my job.
Yep.
So I didn't really. I started off, and I had a good experience with the people, but I never felt like I was being fulfilled.
Right.
So
mine, I'm trying to think of the classiest way to approach that.
And you don't have to.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Like,
becoming a full-time self-employed person was a blessing, because I realized that it just was not the environment for me. Yeah. Very, very rough place to exist as a creative. But anywho, I think where I was going with that, I think that older photographers view the newer generation as charging less, not really understanding their equipment and their gear. And then the middle ground photographers see these fresh people starting, and it's almost the same gripe. Yeah. It's like, you're not charging enough, you're underselling, you're undermining. And like, the reality of all of it is, I used to be very competitive about my work. And now, I feel like if I can just help somebody because I've been through all the same struggles and say, hey, like, here's how I handle this. Not that it's the right way, but like, this is what worked for me.
Right.
I would rather be more of an educator than I would be. I don't ever want to be someone's competition. Yeah. It's not an attractive thing.
No, I think, no, that's a really good point. When we was just talking about older photographers, another thing too is like, if they've been doing it for 25 years, just like anything else with this world, inflation happens.
Yeah. Yep.
Their wedding that they did that they might have charged $1,000 is equal to a $10,000 wedding now, and it's not because we're charging more; it's because we're trying to pay rent.
And if you are doing this full time, there is a huge responsibility on your shoulders to produce, to book, to come up with new ideas. Like, give people a reason that they want to pay you money to do what you do.
Yeah.
And that pressure is insane, and it's scary. And there are weeks where I am on cloud 9 because I've done well and booked a bunch of jobs. And then there are weeks that I, haven't had a shoot in 3 days, and I'm thinking, am I losing my touch? Like, do people not want to book with me anymore? A lot of imposter syndrome goes along with it.
Yeah, I was telling you that right before we recorded, because you asked me how I was doing it, and I was like, well, yesterday was like shit.
Horrible.
I said that a lot, but then today I'm good.
Yep.
But I think it's just like, I was looking at my calendar and I had to reschedule a shoot that I was supposed to do on Thursday to middle of July, and I'm just like, oh, thank God they rescheduled, because now I can just edit.
Breathe.
Yeah, I can just like, don't have to run. I'm okay with being busy. I also want to give these clients ample time to get their full galleries and stuff like that. I shot, this is the busiest June I've ever shot when it came to weddings. I've had every single weekend booked, and I've never had that in Junes, and I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Tired.
Summer weddings are exhausting. I think more so than fall weddings, because like, you're out there in the sun, and then the next day I literally feel like I just worked out the whole day. And just like,
And how quick do you turn around sneak peeks?
The next day.
Yeah. And that's
the full time I've been doing it next day.
Yes.
When I wasn't, I was doing it like a week, and I just couldn't do it.
I am, no matter what the session is, I will always have either same evening or next day. And I realized like I set that like standard for myself, and I think my clients do appreciate it. But that's also not realistic. Like outside of being photographers, we have lives as well, and to immediately leave a session that you just poured yourself into. And I don't know if you feel this way or not, but do you like enter character whenever you go into photographer mode? Like, okay,
I call mine director mode. So I go in and I tell the client, I say, first of all, I love you. Because I want you to know what I'm about to say is not a reflection upon who you are or anything like that. I have a job to do during this 12 hours or however long it is. I need to do it, and I need you to listen. And they respect that, and I think they respect it more because it's being honest. But I go in there and I said, I'm going to be very direct with people. Are you okay with that? And they give me the green light. I go in there and I do what I need to do. I've made bridesmaids cry. I've made grandmas cry. I've made some groomsmen. He got all pissy at me one time, and he wanted to fight everybody. That it was just weird. And I was like, dude,
one of those.
I was like, you're being so dramatic right now. You didn't calm down. But at the end of the day, you know, I'll joke around with the grandma and I'll have her like be happy at the end. Or the bridesmaid, she actually came back and she apologized to me because she realized what was going on. But I do go into like that sort of character, and then afterwards I've had situations where I'm so socially drained that I have to like just sit in my car for like 5 minutes and just like before I can even go home.
Right.
Or I've had situations where people don't listen, and I'm so mad that I have to at least drive for like 5 minutes down the road and then pull over and just like get away from, I can't even see the venue. I've done that. Not that often, but I've done it twice, and I'm just like, I'll call my wife and be like, I'll be home. I'm sharing my location. Here it is. But if you see me just parked here for a minute, I'm okay. I just need to scream and just like let it out for a minute. Because I don't think people realize that, we're a photographer, but at the same time, we're not your wedding planner. You're not your caterer. You're not the groom itself or the bride itself. It's like, you guys are marrying each other, you know. If you want all those things to flow, you need to have the right pieces and stuff. I mean, I've had opportunities where the DJ will not DJ correctly. So then you're taking a mic and you're explaining to people what's going on. I've had
weddings on their own are such a unique experience. My dynamic is a little different because I feel like I am I'm a people pleaser. I'm like a yes person at my core. Like I have a very difficult time saying no to really just about anything. We're in therapy, so we're working on that. But I when I go shoot a wedding, when I shoot a family session, when I shoot anything, I go from like who I actually am into this joke telling, get to know kids. Like I will feel my social battery drain.
Oh yeah.
To the point when I am done with that session that I will sit and think like it felt like I just ran 6 miles. Like
I flirt with more of the grandmas than I do anybody in my whole entire life. You know, during weddings, I'm just like trying to move.
You're throwing the riz at the mamas.
Yeah. Mamaw getting rizzed up.
Yeah, she is.
No, because they're like, with like my hair being long and stuff too. Old ladies love like my curls, so they're always
there's a vibe there that they like
and stuff. And I was like, And I was just like always nudge them or something like that. But like, and then when they're doing like group photos, I'm like, okay, beautiful, let's go here. And something like that. The thing is like you bring that good vibes in and stuff. Yeah. It makes everything. No one wants to sit there in a hot sun and get a photo taken anyway. So like, if you can make it as enjoyable as possible, I tell myself, okay, if I do this for 12 hours. That's all I got to do. I never have to see these people again before my life. And that's why I tell my clients, too, about, like, getting into a director mode. I said, this is your family. You have to see them tomorrow. Yep. I don't.
Yeah, so I'm not going to make you be the bad guy.
No, I'm okay with that and stuff. And then if they truly get upset about something like that I've done or something like that, like, then it probably wasn't on the same page from the start and stuff. So
now you'll like the moment the vibes aren't there, you feel that.
And that's with any shoot. That's with
Oh
any shoot.
yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you also with going viral and shooting and like just sessions and everything, you have your own studio.
I do.
And you do everything from like portraits to like boudoir sessions and stuff like that as well. How does that is that because I only see what I see.
Mm-hmm.
So is like your clientele, do they do you get a lot of bookings for like boudoir having
Yes.
your own studio
Yes.
compared to like not?
Well, and I got a lot before, but I feel like it was a situation where I would offer marathon days, like
Yeah.
like a Valentine's
Right,
boudoir thing.
yeah.
I would book a hotel. I would, have hair and makeup there. To have my own space, I have found that I am booking a lot more independent boudoir sessions, which I get to charge more
Just
for.
like single?
Yes,
Like,
yeah, like someone saying, "Hey, I'm getting married. I'm going to do this,"
Yeah.
or I want to do it for a confidence boost. I'm actually in a lot of online communities where boudoir is like in other places a very, very, very expensive service.
Yes.
Not here.
No, I recently just found this out because I followed.
Alex Loveland, have you heard of her?
No, it's this other guy, Michael Sasser. He does a really good BTS YouTube videos.
Yep.
There's a reason why I followed him, but I didn't realize on Instagram. Is it Sasser, Statler, Michael? Something? I don't know. He's in LA, but I don't know how he does it, but his stuff, like his smallest package is like 10,000.
Okay, so and I have I've been a part of these communities for a while. I even tried to like implement something similar here, and I think I booked 4 people. Which now, granted, you have to take into consideration those 4 people were the equivalent to 40 of my regular price sessions.
Yeah. Okay.
So you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It does work itself out. I love boudoir, so I want to shoot as much of it as possible. But in essence, you charge a session fee, and like this is stuff that's so confusing to me because I am like I have full sessions, I have mini sessions, I have weddings.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Like so
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people just will have a flat fee. It's very different. Everyone does things differently, but for these boudoir photographers that are really, really doing well, they'll have a session fee, which means that you pay a flat $1,000 fee to come into my studio and have time with me. So that could be, 3 outfits, 4 outfits. You kind of just tweak it. So from there, you are ordering all of your prints. You are paying for your digital. Like basically, you're paying per photo.
That's how I would do it, though. Like,
I may be doing this wrong. I may have been doing this wrong all the time, but like my mini sessions are like $275, and you get 20 photos in 20 minutes. My full sessions are $400. You get 40 minutes and 50 edited photos. So like that, and I don't know where I came up with this
like formula.
equation.
Does that not feel like it's rushed to you, or maybe as a?
I shoot so much that
Yeah.
that's kind of my.
I think it might be rushed to me because I think as a guy it'd be hard for me to explain certain scenes.
And poses.
So I think that's the reason why I'd be.
And we talked about this.
Yeah.
Like I can go on the bed and model exactly the pose I want for a girl, and then
I
when
cannot
she's
do that.
when she's
Put that out
there.
there. I'm not doing that. That's not in the contract.
I do that. And then when she is in that pose, if I see that her strap needs adjusted or whatever, like it's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. But these photographers on an average session, they are bringing in anywhere from $5,000 at the bare minimum to like 15, depending on what the client orders, and that includes prints and different things. I tried that structure. Like I said, I think I booked 4 people. And we are not in a market where people have a ton of expendable income.
Yeah. Also, the vision that I see too here in West Virginia, if you had a property that was like an Airbnb and then branded yourself as a like a full-time boudoir, where you could like your studio would be like the house
Of that, right.
And I think that's the reason why that one guy does so well, because I think he has like this whole, I could be totally wrong, it could literally just be him renting the Airbnbs and stuff as well, and then just include that in the package. But like I feel like that would be a little bit better here, because here the country vibe, the he does more like urban type of trying to think what else he does. Like, I guess you would call it like beachy urban. Mm-hmm. Palm tree urban.
That
I don't
sounds
know.
so up my not my photography style
I could
alley,
see-
but my personal
No,
like,
I
alley.
could see you shooting that. And I don't know
Yeah.
how to explain it. I'll have to show it to you after this and stuff. But what I'm trying to get at is I think like the clientele it is here and people do want that, but there's not like a studio that provides all those amenities
In once.
for
Well,
it
and
stuff.
so when I got my studio, it'll be a year in August. I did not want, and I was like very adamant because I was able to like design everything and
Yeah.
pick out paint colors and flooring. I didn't want anything that could be shabby chic. I didn't want barn. I didn't want rustic.
Yeah.
I wanted clean, white, simple. That way I could, like the bed I picked out is like black velvet, and that's not something that you see
Yeah.
a ton of. So
Yeah.
it has been nice to be able to offer something different. And I do feel like my clientele has expanded. I've had actually a lot of people come to me, and it's the very first boudoir session. So like, the nerves are there, they're freaking out. But to have that space that is private, it's not in a hotel. You're not,
Right.
because it almost sometimes feels like skeevy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know
like
exactly what you're saying.
like
And that's the reason why, like, so I offer that in my biggest package, and I've had a lot of brides, and it doesn't hurt my feelings or anything because I understand it. But there's like, we don't think we're going to include it. But if they do want to include it, they say, well, where do you do it at? And I say here, your studio,
Yep.
which I've never booked, but like,
Feel free.
I know you, Stacy, and Megan's, that's where we're filming this at right now is at Megan's, and I've shot at Stacy's, and I've been here, and both of them
They're
work well.
beautiful.
What I do is in the email I send them back options. I say whichever one you want, we'll book that, and we got it. I trust all these women. It's a clean area.
Yep.
This is good. If you need them, like we'll do it, and that kind of like eases their mind
Yeah.
if there's an option. But then I've had some that said, what if we want to go with someone else? I was like, that's fine. It's not a breach of contract or anything like that.
No.
But you're still paying for this package that's just all included. It's not going to be an additional, but it's not going to be taken away from you and stuff too.
Right.
So as a guy, it's been like harder to explain some of those services because and the reason why I include it is because as a consumer, when you are looking at it, I'm trying to think of what is the best way to get an all bang for your buck situation as a bride, as a young bride too.
Because boudoir is almost, I cannot think of really any of my weddings that I haven't shot boudoir for the bride as a gift to the groom. It's like such
Yeah.
a thing. It
Yeah.
really is.
I've only done it for 3.
Yep.
So it is obviously a different
And you know what's
conversation and
so
stuff,
sad?
so.
The work that you do, the boudoir work that you do is so good.
Thank you.
It
on
is
that, but-
beautiful. But it's maybe this is like, how you always hear women say like, workforce things are not equal. Maybe photography is the one field where
I feel like that, but I don't make it as vocal as I probably should because I think when people hear it's just another conversation that a man really doesn't need to be.
I'm so glad that you know your place.
You hear it and I'm just like, it is what it is, but I'm not going to like fuel the
No.
fire of that. And I have conversations with my wife on, and I show her all my work and she critiques my work and stuff. And some people they just at the end of the day they don't mind their own business too. And I've had some. It really irks me when I've had some of my friends just be like, "Oh man, like you're taking all these photos of these girls." I'm like,
How about you don't make it?
yeah, and I was like,
and that's the
absolutely
thing
not.
too.
Like this is my full-time job.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't go to your job and I don't want to disrespect you in any form and stuff. And if you're that absolutely like.
You're so pressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually, that just speaks volumes about that person, not
and
you.
I'm just like, dude, and I just move on and stuff. But it really, I think that's part of the guy part of it and his boudoir. And I'm trying to like learn more about it too because I was mentioning to you before off camera, is that I want to create a couple of videos, educational videos for YouTube that as a guy, this is how you would pose a girl.
Yeah.
This is how you communicate compared to this is how a woman would do it and
Yep.
stuff too. So I think there's a level of professionalism. I think there's a level of just being aware of the situation, because another thing too is the fact that it doesn't matter if one girl that you shot, she could be the most confident person ever.
Yep.
But when she sees herself on camera, it's a different mindset.
It's almost like, honestly, boudoir is it's amazing. It's this it's a creative outlet in which you can really boost someone's confidence.
Yeah.
But there are circumstances, and it's almost like, you hear your voice on camera and you become uncomfortable. Seeing yourself more exposed, or we're
Vulnerable.
and we're
Just
all
vulnerable.
of our own worst critic. Like, there's a lot of psychological, and to be a photographer who can handle that, because I will tell you, most women come in and they say, I hate this about myself. I don't like this. Hey, could you make sure you edit this?
Yeah.
And it's I love being the person that can give them that confidence, but it's also like, it's a very big responsibility.
Yeah.
Because you are responsible for making them feel good about themselves.
And I also don't. I have one YouTube video. It was actually Mercedes. We was talking about how we know her and stuff.
I love Mercedes.
And
Give her a shout out. Best facialist, lashes, brows.
I'll put her link in the description below. But I did a video editing one of her photos. One, because I knew who she was and I knew she wasn't going to get upset. But I talk about that. It was a liquify option in Photoshop.
I love a little liquefy.
And my wife, every single time I take pictures, she's like, "Just liquefy me a little bit."
Oh yeah, listen. And my favorite thing, like, you can fluff the lips up, you make the eyes a little bigger.
Hair is a big thing.
Oh yes. People don't know this.
Yeah, and I talk about in that. I said there's a way that your approach is, whether or not you are a man or a woman and stuff. You need to understand about people's appearances. It can be very sensitive regardless. So I tell them, I was like, if I'm going to do that, which this is how I would do it, I would just bring in the hips a little bit, make it a little bit curvier.
Yep.
I'm never going to do it by myself. I'm always going to reach out to them.
Same.
And I said it's very, very important to let your model know that and stuff, because you do not want to put them in a situation where they look altered and they are feeling some type of way
Yes.
about it. And
Well,
stuff.
and the way I approach that at the very beginning of every session, because again, you are about ready to start a conversation with someone where you're like, all right, get your lingerie on. You know what I mean? And that's not every day for most people. But I will tell them,
I don't even take my shirt off in a pool. So
right. And then here we are just like expecting people to,
I can't swim. I don't know why I said pool.
I was a lifeguard. Actually, I'm not that great of a swimmer, but I was a lifeguard. But I will tell them at the very beginning of the session, I am never going to just on my own accord change the composition of your body. If you tell me you have a birthmark and you hate it, I can healing tool it out. You'll never know it was there. If you are insecure about acne or hip dips, or one of your nails is chipped, and it doesn't, sometimes it's small, sometimes it's a big thing. I'm never going to do that on my own, but this is your moment to tell me anything that you don't love about yourself. And I do have, an arsenal of tools I can use to tweak it. You're still going to look natural. I'm not going to turn you into, some version of you that's not still you.
Yeah.
But I cannot think of anything more offensive than if I went and had boudoir done right now, and I know that I have freckles, and I see these photos and there are no freckles, I'm going to think, what's wrong with my freckles?
Yeah, it's just too much. And that's why, I tell a lot of my clients, I did a shoot with, it was I did a little bit in studio, and then I did some. It was like golden hour. It's pinned on my Instagram right now, but it was Abby. She has the dark hair and like the black bikini and stuff on. She was so anxious, but afterwards she was like, "No, you're my photographer now. Like, I love it." And I was trying to explain to her just different situations of like, if I do everything I need to in the camera, then I don't need to edit.
Yep.
And trying to explain that by just changing your white balance,
Just
changing your ISO to make sure, like all these little things and tweaking it into it. If we have great light, everything else is going to play into it. And by the time I was showing her the back of the camera, she's like, "This is not even edited." I was like, that's the
goal.
Yeah, that's the goal.
And honestly, every shoot that I go into, I try to shoot as closely to my style, what my eye likes to see. Because if you are I mean, honestly, if you're doing a massive, massive amount of editing and post, like that just makes your job harder.
Yeah, and I shoot. I probably 2 years ago I started switching over to all my white balances. I shoot in shade now if I'm outside because I know I'm really into the golden hour and the Auburn type of look, and that's just one less little warmth that I have to do during editing. Sometimes it does really good, and I think skin tones look a lot better with it because then you can put you don't have to desaturate a lot of stuff, and then they still look good. So. But that's just like a little trick that I would never known about. But now I tell my second shooters, I was like, yeah, switch that over to shade if we're going to go outside.
Yeah.
And the second shooter I had this weekend was Caitlin Myers. And she was like, oh yeah, I love this now. And I was like, I just do it all the time because if you're in shade, you can still get warm, and it doesn't make you get this like super blue on a harsh day. You get that golden hour effect at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's crazy.
And sometimes when you can't like cherry pick what time you're shooting, you have to get creative like that.
Yeah, for sure. So boudoir is definitely a big genre. I think it's always really funny and when clients are trying to like pronounce it.
Oh my gosh, boudoir.
What do you think is the what do you think is the craziest version of you?
Sometimes it makes me cringe.
I have one, but I want to hear one. What?
I think boudoir.
Boudoir.
Yeah.
I had so there's a girl. She was 100% serious, and she's watching this. She knows that how much I love her and stuff, so it's not even like that big a deal or anything now. But she's so innocent. She's like. She said, Q, what is those voodoo pictures? Voodoo. And I said, what? And I thought she was talking about, because her wedding was in October.
Was it Halloween?
And I was like, are you talking about like a Halloween theme? Like, shoot? No, it's voodoo. I said, boudoir? And she was like, yeah, what is that? And I was like, dying because she was so innocent, but she was great to work with. And I explained to her, she's like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. I said, that's okay.
I feel like, it's an easy mistake. It's a French word, I think.
Yeah, it's got to be.
It's got to be French. Yeah. It's giving hard French energy.
I don't even know what it means.
And also us being in the heart of Appalachia, you gotta expect it. You know what I mean? Like it's just part of it.
Yeah, voodoo is probably the craziest one I've
Boudoir.
heard. Yeah, Boudoir.
Because I mean, Dior is a very high end brand, so like I mean, it tracks, but. Yeah. It ain't it. Yeah. It ain't it.
I think my mom mispronounces it every single time. She says it in a sentence. Like, she never says it, like, correctly.
I think, that's a funny thought I've really never had is, like, my mom follows my page and, like, sees all these photos I post and stuff. And, she's never really been, like, she's never thought anything of it. Like, she's never been like, Hillary, you take photos of partially naked women so frequently.
After I graduated college, we had an opportunity to do like an internship or a gallery, and I chose a gallery. Mm-hmm. And she saw a lot of my work through his different mediums of like clay, sculpture, stuff like that. After that day, she learned a lot about what my vision was, and she really hasn't questioned much
Just
of it.
let it fly. Let it fly, baby.
I had a lot of pieces that I thought was hilarious and in a artistic way.
Yeah.
But I did a 20-pound sculpture. It was a clay sculpture of a vagina.
But listen. So have you ever seen people like paint them?
But the kicker is, I named it home because
that's where you came from.
Yeah, and it was as soon as you walked in. So that was the first thing you saw.
Where's this 20-pound vagina right now?
It's in my closet. I kept it.
Oh my God.
So. It was.
You're saying Kennedy won't let you put this one on the table.
She hates it. So I kept that piece. I have this this barn owl that I kept too. She thinks it's freaky as can be, and I was like, no, I like it, and I just like it keeping it because it bothers her so much. And then I kept. What else I keep? Oh, I kept another like little silver sculpture that I had, but the rest of my pieces I completely sold. But I did like a 9-foot. Charcoal seahorse. I did a lot of photography and stuff. I did a couple nude things with like some of my friends, and that was like a real good example of learning professionalism, contracts, witnesses, like shooting in a studio. if I didn't shoot with those people because those people that I shot with, they're my good friends and stuff
Right.
to this day, and they've always supported me and stuff. And if I didn't shoot with them, I think it would be a different mindset. But they understood where I was coming from. I remember one of them. It was this black and white piece. It was one of my favorite pieces I ever did. Tony Doman, if you're watching, I love you. You know that. But we was in the studio. We was shooting, and we had this giant black like backdrop, and she had this leather jacket on, and she's a redhead, and she had long like curly red hair at the time. And I told her, I was like, what if we just did so you're not going to have no like pants on, and we're going to do it black and white and stuff. So we had this light source up in the top right, and we kind of like shined it down, so it was just like harsh
light,
like shadows. I took 2 photos of that, and I immediately told her, I was like, okay, put your pants on, we got to edit this right now.
Like, we're going.
Yeah, so I had my laptop, I edited it right there in the studio. It's like one of those core moments of like my art career, because it clicked. And when she saw like my edit on it and it was black and white, she was just like jumping up, and I would never forget her face on it.
Just excited.
Yeah, and here it was, and then I posted it the next day, and I named it Misbehaving, like MISS Behaving, and I printed it out. Well, they wouldn't let me at Glenville. They didn't want me to print it out and have it part of it because it showed nudity.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of crazy how you guys are presenting yourself as the best small liberal arts school in the nation. And
where's the liberal?
yeah. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? And so I told him no, that wouldn't do it. And then 2 hours before, it was printed out 5 foot, and it was right at the front door.
Yep.
So, and she loved it. She got her picture with it. It was her. She's just pointing at her butt and
Yep.
stuff in it. But I'm just.
That's the thing. I think that, like, I don't know. Obviously, society has pre-programmed us to be like ashamed of nudity or think that nudity is this awful thing. But like, if you are looking at it as art and not like, you know, smut or whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, even on that note, what's the shame in like, I get the question all the time. I can't believe so many of your clients let you post pictures of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I respond to that with like, most of my clients want me.
Yeah.
Because it feels good to feel good. And
Yeah.
if you're judgmental of somebody in, you know, bra and panties, but you're not of them in a bathing suit, makes no sense. If you are harsh on someone because they get a confidence boost by being hyped up by other, you know, women or whoever, like, mind your own.
Right.
It's just so frustrating.
Right. And that's like it's an old mindset regardless, because if you look at like back in filmmaking, you know who the first couple was in a bed on television was?
Let me think.
You won't even believe it and stuff who it was.
In a bed.
In a bed. The first couple that was in a bed together.
I like instinctively want to say Marilyn Monroe, but
No. So it's not even a real person.
Who?
It's a cartoon. So it's the Flintstones. It was
Fred and
Wilma.
Yep.
And when that episode was actually released and stuff, it was actually taken off of the air the next day because it showed so much controversy of like that showed
intimacy.
Yeah, and they wasn't even, they was just in the bed.
Jeez.
And so then the next one, the real people, I believe might have been like Lucy on the I Love Lucy show, I think. And I might have to fact check that myself on that, but I do know the story of it was she wasn't fully in the bed. The rule was you had to have one leg on the floor on television. Isn't that not crazy?
Well, and like, I don't know. And this is what, like, humans are we're just as hard as we possibly can be on ourselves, because realistically, intimacy is a part of everyday life. Finding people attractive is part of everyday life. Why put all these stipulations on it whenever, like right now, I'm just now starting to watch Bridgerton, the new season.
Lord.
Yeah, I know.
I don't start that. I'm so embarrassed just by watching the TikToks from it.
Seriously?
Yeah, I can't do
but
it.
like, so I'm the opposite. I also read a lot of like A Court of Thorns and Roses,
Yeah,
like all that stuff.
yeah.
So like I'm pretty, you know, open about that type of thing. But like, why is it that the human mind naturally gravitates towards that stuff, but then when people do it. You're just ready to like
Right.
rip them limb from limb. Like I don't know.
I think third or a half of it has to do with jealousy because of the fact that it wasn't their idea.
Yeah.
And they're not getting their
Or
attention from it.
okay, so at some juncture in my life, the me that's saying this right now may have very well been one of the judgmental people,
Yeah.
but like just like a PSA to everybody out there, if you are 75, if you are 25, if you are 35, like people want to feel good.
Yeah.
So no matter what it is, judging that it's legal, of course, like, I'm not going to say go out and, if Jeffrey Dahmer is your idol, probably not. But like if you
Yeah.
like taking pretty pictures of yourself, sissy, do it.
Yeah.
Like go out there and own it and like stop being so damn hard on people.
Or guys too, because I will say out of this, reason being for a lot of women on my page is because guys flake on me more than anybody. I've reached out to as many guys as girls, and I have mood boards where I'm just like, yeah, let's do this, let's do
So
that.
cool.
And
I don't have a lot of
Yeah.
I don't know that this area is any man that I shoot, he is there because his wife is making him be there.
Any guys that's on my profile is because I either went to college with them or, yeah.
So maybe that's
they
a PSA
know,
too.
yeah.
Like guys, you can feel.
Yeah, you guys deserve just as much.
You need the
and the thing
hype.
is, it doesn't need to be I think they automatically think it needs to be like a chiseled, I don't even know, like
No.
oiled up baby oil. It's not that. You
If it ain't slick.
You could literally have a great photo shoot with just khakis and a button up.
Yep.
Just be happy, be confident in yourself, and leave all the technical stuff to us.
Yep.
I was like, and the best way to describe it is like everyone needs a good headshot. Everyone needs a good LinkedIn profile pic
Yep.
or something like that. You don't need to be, let's just like work with what you got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you don't have to oftentimes I feel like whatever you are comfortable in is what works the best.
Yeah.
Well, because even on the note of boudoir, everybody, like there's this one strappy lingerie bodysuit that I feel like I have, it's from Victoria's Secret, that I have photographed 50 different women in. And it is sexy and it is beautiful, but like there are also circumstances where I've had girls wear their husband's mechanic jacket, or they will have his favorite sports team jersey, and like you can almost see a difference in someone's overall like their vibe when they do feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So it's not one size fits all. Judgment is lame, and it can be whatever you want it to be, guy or girl.
Boudoir definitely has a massive impact on like a lot of photographers. Just like a lot of things that we talked about today. I feel like we talked a lot. So I think we talked like 45 minutes before we even started recording.
We did.
this. So, but is there any like words of advice or like, I've been doing this last couple of episodes, and what I've been really liking is the fact that I can say it as many times till I'm blue in the face, but like when you hear from not one but two photographers, I mean, a lot of them's been saying the same things, putting the value into your work and not having imposter syndrome and not, like, I don't want to put words in your mouth or anything like that, but like also just like we're a lot more alike than a lot of people think,
Yeah.
As artists and stuff in general. So is there like anything that you would like to like kind of like say on that behalf, or would like to let your younger self know or something like that?
I think that when I first started, self-promotion was one thing that I was really ashamed of. I remember thinking, why would anyone care? Like, why would anybody care what my behind the scenes looks like,
Right.
or what my camera bag has in it? And then I started seeing a lot of other creators, like big market, Denver, Miami, Austin, Texas, these people doing that. And I was almost embarrassed, or I thought it was like cringy. I was so scared of being cringy. Promote the ever living crap out of yourself. If you share a video of like what your process is like getting ready for a wedding day, that makes you relatable. A future bride will see that and she will think, that seems so smart. I would have never thought of that. Or how cool to know that she cares about whether or not like she carries around bottles of water because she knows I'm going to get thirsty whenever we're shooting pictures in 90-degree weather. I think that has been one of the things that has helped make me more successful, is that I've created a brand. It's not just my work that stands alone. I am a personality. I am relatable. I share a lot of like what my day-to-day life looks like. And I was really scared to do that. I think that I was embarrassed that people were going to think like I was too big for my britches, or creating something that wasn't real. But like, here I am now, and it's been, 6 years into this, and I don't think I would have ever believed it if I would have told myself like, hey, this is the point that you're going to reach in your career. Like you can do this full time. I think I would have said, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I think another bit of advice would be, do not look at fellow creatives, no matter where they're at in their career. If they've been doing it for 15 years or they just started, don't let yourself get down by seeing someone else's talent. Be inspired by it. Be enlightened that someone, like when I look at someone else's work that I really love and I see something that just kind of like dazzles me, I think, how freaking cool that person can share that with other people. There was a point in my career where I would say, why am I even shooting? Because they're so much better than me, or they're booking more than me. Like, it's all just noise. And you can let yourself either drown in that, or you can swim to the top and try to just do it for yourself. Because I think that photography can be a very catty and non-welcoming industry.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be.
No, I think you pretty much hit it right on the head on that. I think that I've caught myself multiple times when I'm seeing stuff of other people, and like the whole devil on an angel on your shoulder type thing, and part of me says, man, screw them, like I could have done better. Or then the other part was like, damn,
I can't do that.
I can't do that. And I think that's the important part of it. And I think that's the part of maturing and finding out who your circle and who your community is, because without having those moments of saying no to certain projects, or finding yourself, your brand, or just like finding the people that is not going to be like a snake, you know, it's easier said than done. But those little victories of just being kind to yourself and knowing and be like, no, I need to give that person some credit. Goes
Want to know
a
why?
long way.
Our market, Charleston, West Virginia alone. Think of how much talent there is here.
That's the reason why I'm doing
it's
this.
ridiculous.
It makes no sense to me why Appalachia, West Virginia, Charleston, right here, smack dab. I mean, I was because I have a full list of people that I reach out to and I try to book, and I'm trying to for this podcast and stuff. And I was going to start this, and I was going to do 10 episodes and now call it a season. I wasn't going to pick it back up until like September. I was looking at my list and I said, I could do this until I
die.
Yeah. Like, there's so much. And I'm just going to continue to do it and give it people a platform. I got somebody, I'm actually going to read this to you because I posted it on our Twitter, which if you guys are not following us, is Pull Focus Podcast. I didn't post it on Instagram because, we have an aesthetic. We're trying to
fit the vibe.
Yeah, fit the vibe on it. But this guy, and I've had 2 or 3 really amazing messages since I started this, but this guy is somebody that I would not even think would even like photography. He just knows me and is a mutual friend and stuff. But he said, hey man, just wanted to say that your podcast is good. I'm on episode 3 and I only know a little about photography, but the conversation is so smooth and effortless. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks for giving me something to listen to at work. Keep up the great work and looking forward to listening to more. And I was just like, dude. And that was 4 days, and I tweeted, I said, messages like this. Now, what I'm trying to accomplish is I don't care about personally, but if people then see like your work or these other creators' work that's on this, that's the web of connection that I'm trying to create with it.
And I wholeheartedly believe like what you put out is what you get back, and like for you to have the passion to highlight other creatives and talk about their work and not view it as this, cutthroat competition.
No, I I think it was about leaving a legacy and stuff as well. I think, when you go and you become full time, you realize that it's you.
Yep.
And when you have to put 100% of that effort into your success, you want to know that you're making the right choices to not be successful for a year, but for years to come.
Yep.
And
some scary shit.
yeah,
It's heavy.
And people they're just like, yeah, small business owner. But no, it's like, I don't want to be a small business owner. I want to be a business owner.
Yes.
And I want to do it for a long time. I want to do it a long time because I want to make sure that I'm happy with my job, and I want to be able to like do what I want in the world and stuff. I mean, I have my master's degree, but I don't want to work for someone when I know I have the skills and the control to do it myself.
I have found, and this may be a common thing amongst people who are creative or in the photography field, I don't really work well under other people. Like, I'm very much a like independent, do it on my own, find something I love and pour my heart into it, as opposed to like show up every day and just do what I'm supposed to. Like, it's difficult for me.
I like being a team player, but I want to be coached by a coach that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it's completely like, I've just seen it into a different mindset, and I'm just like, I woke up in January this year, and I was just like, why? Like, I was like, and I'm not old, like, and that's the thing. I don't want to wake up 50 knowing that this was my true passion, and
I didn't pursue it.
And I didn't pursue it. And this has been a side hustle since college. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And I was like, no.
Nope.
So I was like, let's just do it. And if it all fails, like, I got my master's degree and I'll work for somebody.
And that's my safety net as well, is knowing that if for some reason this, because I guess I think all the time too, like, okay, I'm 31 and I am getting booked a lot. Like, will I at some point lose my relevance? Like, it's scary to think about. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, but like, I would rather take risks right now while I am young and do things that complete me and make me happy and bring me joy than I would wake up in 20 years and say, wonder what it would have been like.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like, and the same for you. You're not just going to wake up one day and quit your job and say, like, I mean, I'm going to be a photographer.
Yeah.
Like, you do have to like find your circle, find your talent,
just find courage.
Find courage, because it takes. I mean, I could honestly, when I even got the studio, I remember thinking to myself, like, knowing what my monthly rent was and everything, thinking like, what are you doing, girl? Like, you're crazy.
I literally still think that right now. To me, like, I feel like I'm on vacation and about to go to work on Monday morning, and that's when, like, yesterday I had that like shit moment where I'm just like, I need to do this now and stuff. But it's people, it felt weird too when people was congratulating me on doing it.
I'm like, oh, thank you for financially ruining yourself. Oh, wonderful job.
Literally how I felt, because I was like, I haven't made it yet, guys. Like, I don't feel like I've even scratched the surface of what my learning capacity about it should be and stuff. And when they was saying, oh, congrats and stuff, I was like, I know that they know that I've been wanting to do this for a while. They've heard me. Like, I've told my clients that like multiple times. But it's also, it's like, no. It's like, just tell me good luck.
Yeah, good luck, or you got some big balls. Like, you were saying,
or book me.
Yeah. No, that's the big one. I love.
It's like, if you really want to support me,
book me.
Then book me.
Yes. And if you that's such a double-edged sword, because I feel like a lot of times the clients that started out as clients ended up being my true friends that are the ones that support me, when in a lot of circumstances the friends were the ones who wanted the freebie sessions. They wanted
there's a reason why my stuff on my website is versed a certain way, because friends and family will take more advantage of you than anybody in the industry. And
if you don't, I don't know, for me, like, photographers complain all the time about getting ghosted, people not showing up. Like, you don't realize like what goes into planning a session, how much time that, and it is hurtful, but like, once you find your grind and you find your people, that becomes less and less prevalent.
Correct.
Yep. And it just takes time. And and maybe that's another bit of advice, like, to my baby photog friends, like, you're going to be frustrated, you are going to be pissed. You're going to be hurt. You're going to be thrilled. You're going to be, pumped and proud, every emotion. But like, you just have to like ground yourself and know it's going to be worth it. You have to keep fighting.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, nobody else is going to live your dream for you.
Yeah.
You can't expect your spouse, your friends. No one's going to go out there and bust ass for you like you will.
Yeah. Yeah. Just having that Mamba like mentality, and just like, I think about that a lot. Like I watch a lot of like motivational stuff, and just like, Kobe Bryant with the whole entire, his whole thing, one of his most famous quotes is like during a press conference when they're up 2-0 in the finals, and they're like, "Oh, do you guys feel like you're in great position?" And he literally just says, "Job's not finished." And that whole mentality, if you just use that, and I know it sounds like, because my gamer friends, they think it's funny because like my gamer tag is Red Mamba, so like
the Black Mamba.
Yeah.
I was on vacation when he passed, and like I was never a big sports fan or anything, but like something about that just hit. Like
I was always, I have crazy respect of like people that has a certain like discipline about like their life. Mm-hmm. Now we all have different ways of like discipline of like whether it's you're an athlete or if you're you work out, but it's like if you just hear some of these people's routines and why they're successful, it's because like the whole mentality of the fact that when somebody is asleep, the other person's up perfecting their craft, and they're getting better and it's just like, and that's how I'm trying to like think of it, is like, okay, on my day off, what have I done to better myself? Am I watching a YouTube video? Am I editing? Am I doing this? Am I setting up a client? Am I posting my story? Not to a point where I'm burnt out, but to a point that I know that I did something to at least benefit me for tomorrow, because today wasn't as great and stuff. So it's like there's a lot of that, and but yeah, when Kobe, when he passed, I was like, damn, like, because there was so much that he was about to teach his daughter, and
the whole situation was just awful.
So I feel like we was kind of like robbed about that. But I mean, another great quote too was just like in that movie Hustle with Adam Sandler. He says you love the game so much, but like, are you obsessed?
Yep.
And when you think about obsession and passion and love, and it's just like they're all different, and that's the thing, is like, I'm obsessed with photography.
I am too.
I love it.
What a blessing. And I try not to get on the like hashtag blessed life, but like every day I get to wake up and do something that I wholeheartedly love. And like, does it get frustrating? Absolutely. Are there ups and downs? For sure. But like, I'm obsessed with my job. Yeah.
And I think it's such a good moment of reflection of like your life and stuff too, because you're seeing it. I think as a kid, when you grow up, you always hear about these perfect jobs and these things, and as a kid you're like, oh, I just want to play with toys all day, I want to do with this. But to me, when I get like a new camera, a new lens, when I got this new DJI, like, that is my toy.
I played with that thing the whole day. So hard.
I told my wife, I said, I had like this little suction thing that I put onto the car. Her and I drove around the Capitol parking lot, like,
just for funsies,
like 20 times, because I was like, I want to get this shot, I want to do this, and she was just riding there supporting. But I'm just geeking out, because to me, that's a new tool that I know I can like put into my craft. I can get better and better. But they're expensive toys regardless. But
that's where adulthood. So we do get to be the kids that play with the toys we love every day. But then the adult part of it's like, all right, we got to hustle, make the money to buy it.
Yeah.
Like, you invest a lot into photography gear, and like I said, sometimes I kick myself because I really do keep that 35 on all the time. But like, it's an investment in yourself too.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. So is there any other creators that you would like to shout out at this point?
Oh, goodness. There's so many that I love. And actually, one that has already been on your show, Caitlin Christian. Mm-hmm. I love her. She has second shot for me at a wedding. She shot photo primarily. I shot video. The sweetest soul, and also like such a good supporter. Her work is beautiful. Her style is very, like, the tones and colors that she's able to pull out. Every time I see them, I'm just like in awe. Yeah. I do want to talk about Dakota again. This is the Dakota show.
I know. I'm for it.
It's the Dakota Show. I do not know that I've ever actually had an interaction with him, but I followed his work for so long.
That's way with honestly before this podcast, I was probably with 90% of the people.
Yes.
You get scared half to death when you go out and see him
Yep.
in real life, and you're like, oh. Like I saw Stacy at Marshall in passing, and she'll agree to this. Like when we text each other, we're just fine. But she told me, she was like, I thought that was you, and I didn't know if I was going to say hi, but you just kind of like waved at me. And
I saw her at the tulip fields at Grits, and honestly, I did talk to her. I'm the type of person that can talk to a brick wall.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Or like even when I've had people that have met me and they're like, oh, you're HEK Productions, and like it's just cool. It's cool for someone else to love your work. Dakota, the artistry that he pulls out, especially his wedding work, phenomenal. So good. I started like a kind of like a mentorship, or I don't really know how I would describe it. I was basically reaching out to other photographers that would want to work in like kind of like with me, but they lived in different areas. Someone I would love to shout out, her name's Haley Crane. She's from the Greenbrier County area.
I don't know if I know her.
She follow her page. She is newer to the industry, but her work is dazzling. Very filmy. Actually, it might be worth. I just want to get like your gut reaction on your face when you see somebody's work.
I don't know if I've seen her before. So.
Haley Crane.
It's amazing too that you think West Virginia is such a small place too, and then you start naming people and people don't know, and be like, oh, this artist is here, this artist is here, and then you're just like, what? Like you have no idea and stuff. You 100%. Think you know a lot of the people, and you really don't. So.
Let me see. So a lot of her stuff, like look how like soft and like very beautiful. But she came up to Charleston to help me with the shoot. That I was just kind of spitballing that idea, but her work is beautiful. I'm trying to think of anybody else that's like anyone that's been helpful to me. Can I shout you out?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, you do whatever you want. She's not paying.
I'm not being paid for this.
Not
I love so much your passion for bringing people together. I love that you may have been the very first voice that I realized locally wanted to create like allies amongst photographers instead of enemies, because it was toxic there for a hot minute. Like Charleston, I had a photographer, someone who I thought was a friend, reach out to me at one point and send me this long message that was like, I feel like you're copying everything I do. Your work's not original. You owe all of your success to me and my ideas. I was so crushed. I didn't think my work was even remotely similar to this person's, and it freaking hurt.
Yeah.
I remember like I'm very sensitive and I boohoo cried and was very emotional. And this was years ago, but like to have someone that wants to bring people together is fabulous. And you've changed the scene.
We're trying,
my dude.
Really are. I mean, we have a Facebook group, which I also want to give credit to Maddie. Gosh, there's like 20 Madisons. There's 20
Maddie J.
Hillarys,
Photography is another one I love.
She's going to kill me when I know this, but...
Just cut it out.
Oh, no, I was right. It was just her whole... Maddie Sowards.
Yep.
She's one of the admins on the Facebook group. She started on Facebook what I've been trying to do on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I like Discord a lot, and as photographers, I just don't think it's very known here in West Virginia about what... It's more of a gamer online app, but like you've used it a couple times and stuff, and you've been part of it. That's been around for about a couple years now, but it's starting to pick up. But what I love about it is like if you're editing on your PC, like you can share your screen, you can critique each other. Colt and I, which is part of New Creations Photography, him and his wife actually gets in a lot, and he'll actually go through edits with me, and he'll be like, oh yeah, so he sees my screen and stuff. That's what I like about it. I think more people like just sit down in those phone calls and just kind of like gets an honest reaction from another photographer is very helpful. And we self promo in there. We try to like be creative. I do giveaways in there. We're doing a giveaway right now, which I can't believe no one's hopped on it, but it's $100 giveaway.
Right.
and you just have to. We're doing summer, so we're doing like a water theme for like just stay cool and stuff. But we're trying to do that. I think the Facebook group has been a breath of fresh air. I think we got some really good people in there that's kind of steering that conversation.
Right.
I wish there was more guys that would talk. You guys know which ones I'm talking about because I've already reached out to you. But that's another thing too. Is just like I've mentioned that a lot. Is being the guy in the conversation. I tell Cole, him and I, we've gotten close in the last like year.
Was that the guy you did the
stranger session?
Okay, yeah. That's what I was just now thinking.
Which is so cool, and but we talk about it how I might put a message in and it gets like probably overlooked so much, but if a woman puts a message in, it doesn't. So there's
equal rights, baby, both ways.
I don't add that into there and stuff. I just kind of do my own thing, but I'll back all those people up and stuff. And another thing, part of it too, is like if I truly think that they are deserving of it, like I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. And the Colt and I have a project that's going to be launching in July 1st. It's going to kind of be telling that story a little bit more, and I'll tell you more of that on off camera and stuff too. But it's going to be really cool, and we're going to curate this project. And I think a lot of West Virginians and I think a lot of people just in the Appalachia area is going to really enjoy this. It's not going to be content that we put out every day. It's going to be content that you just never know, but it's going to be more of a storytelling therapy session. I think is a good way to describe it. So be on the lookout on that, but it's going to have a lot of photographers involved in it too. So but yeah, that's that Facebook group. That Discord link also is going to be located in the description below, so anybody can join it and stuff too.
Sweet.
But yeah, Hillary, this has been awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for just like sitting down and chatting. I looked over at the timer a couple minutes ago and stressed me out because I know I have to edit all this, and it's been.
Good Lord, I have a session at 7.
I know it's going to be a
she a long one.
Yeah, but I think we covered some really good things, and also do want to say you're killing it as a studio owner. You're killing it as just a business owner as well, and just keep it up. There's plenty of clientele out there.
Yep.
And you're on one of my list of references when people.
You are too. So anytime I can't, especially weddings, just because after working with you that day and seeing how good you were at, that's not a comfortable place to be in, like to direct people.
Yeah.
And you were great. So yeah, you're definitely on my list of chosen.
But yeah, all of her information, like always, everyone, is going to be in the description below. I also want to take this time to say that this podcast is sponsored by Megan Nicole Photography. This is a studio where she books all of her sessions at. A link is going to be located in that description below as well. She does everything from mommy and me's to boudoir to portraits to headshots to family sessions. All that can be done here in the studio, so definitely give her some love as well. In the meantime, go follow Hillary. Give her some love. Go check out all of her photos and videos, and we will catch you in the next one. And remember, never stop creating.
Thank you.
That's it. And we're done.
Woo!